Yeah, buddies. It's the Bennington Show. Gail is picking some of her favorite girl group music all week.
It's girl groups week. That was the Velvelettes.
The Velvelettes. What year are we talking about there?
I would think that's 1961 or 2. It's definitely early 60s. I think they formed in 61, and they kind of were a short-lived kind of group. So I would say 61. It's my guess. My
61,
educated.
Yeah. I love the fact that some of those songs are interchangeable between the girl groups, and other ones are definitely not.
Yeah, and also a lot of them moved around within the groups. Like a couple I think like one or two of the girls from that group moved on to be with Martha Reeves. You know, like they kind of moved around. Like,
and then you also find out that they sang back up for somebody else.
Exactly, yeah.
Always cool. All right, 866-766-0339. 866-766-0339. I'll tell you, like, to me, too, a big difference, because everybody always talks about the wall of sound, but you hear a lot of music from that era, and they put the song up before the production.
Yeah.
And when you hear music now, it tends to be more about this producer than it does the song or even the performer.
That's true. And
Good.
also, like,
Good.
well,
Good, that is true.
That's true. But yeah, Wall of Sound was obviously kind of encompasses all of that music, but it started with the Motown. Like, I think the Velvelettes were Motown. Marvelettes, who we played yesterday, were on the Motown label.
And that was Motown before they were famous Motown.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Marvelettes was, I think, discovered by Smokey Robinson, and like Marvin Gaye wrote songs for the Marvelettes. I mean, like, it's crazy.
Amazing. That entire, when you talk to them, and I've had some of those people come in before. When they start to talk about, well, then I live 2 blocks over from Diana Ross, and I live 3 blocks, and you're like, what? Wait, really? You don't realize that that's like a neighborhood thing that happened. It's insane.
And then you always just wonder, were you aware of what was going on? I always wonder that, like, because sometimes you're in the moment and it feels like nothing cool is happening.
Right.
But then always 10 years later, everyone's always going, hey, that was a pretty cool time. We had some good music. But it always feels like it's kind of shit.
I bet a lot of them are like, Smokey Robinson's an asshole. He's always telling me that I'm late and I'm doing, you know what I mean? Right. They don't realize, like, at the time they were forming this thing that would last forever. And then everything kind of got changed. That entire thing, you know, was in such a vacuum, but it doesn't happen that way anymore. I think it's even rare to hear the fact of people being in the same neighborhood and their band making it big. Like the Alabama Shakes is that thing where you find out they're from this backcountry, you know, dirt road junkyard thing, and they were playing music together. And then suddenly it took off. That's way more romantic than we went to LA and I read an ad and we all got together.
Some manager put us all together.
Yeah,
that happens a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that that with a band that is like a gang, you know, and that's a fairly new thing. I mean, it's Beatles and Stones, you know what I mean? Like, if you really look at groups, it's really the Beatles and Stones. And to me, if you look at any band since then, they're either Beatles or Stones. You could trace them back. That's very true. And you have to, I don't know, I feel like you have to think about what it must have been like to grow up with somebody who is just like, yeah, I went to school with all of the Beatles. Isn't that weird? Like, especially the groups of people who like grew up together. Like, all the Beatles are from one place. Well, like Mick and Keith met in a sandbox or some crazy shit. Like their mother said, here, play with them. The Beatles, all except for Ringo, were the same type of thing. Yeah. Of like, I was 9, he was 7. And then you wonder why those guys break up when they're in their late 20s. Why wouldn't you? You have known this person since you were a baby, and now you have money enough to get away.
You don't have any other relationships like that.
But Stanley, bring up any band post Beatles and Stones time.
Okay.
And we'll come up whether they're a Beatles band or a Stones band. By the way, which one do you prefer?
I prefer the Beatles.
Over the Stones?
Over the Stones.
What do you, Gail?
Stones, probably.
There ain't no probably in my world. I'm a Stones guy.
Stonesman.
Yeah, I got to go with the Stones.
Stoner.
Now, you come up with any band in the world, will tell you whether they're a Beatles band or a Stones band. If you want to call in, 866-766-0339, 866-766-0339. Go ahead, Chris.
All right, The Clash.
The Clash are a Stones band. It's not even close.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Green Day.
Green Day is a Beatles band.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
They are the junior Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
Tears for Fears.
Tears for Fears is a Beatles band.
Damn. The Pixies.
Pixies are interesting.
I feel like they got a foot in each world
They
there.
do. Everybody, you know, and let's face it, most people do have a foot in each world. But Pixies, where were you going?
I'm going to go Stones.
I think they're definitely a Rolling Stones band. But there's a Beatle flavor there.
Van Halen.
Van Halen is a Stones band. I'm going to just slow and not waste some of your time here.
Okay.
If you are a metal band, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or a hard rock band, you're pretty much a Stones band. Now, I'm sure that there are, I'm sure we can come up with the odd. Like, there is one band in particular that I've got a foot in each camp about. That might even surprise people. But most of the time, I think punk bands are Stones bands. Metal bands are Stones bands. Boy bands, Beatles bands. Yeah.
Who's your band that you think is halfway?
I'm not going to do it yet.
Okay.
I'm not going to do it yet because it'll be shocking to you. But if you take an Aerosmith, they're a Stones band.
Yeah.
Let's go over here and we got to make sure we're all locked in here. Here's Sean. Sean.
What's up, Roddy B? How about the Ramones?
The Ramones are a Stones band.
Ramon Stones.
Now, there
had the
are
Beatles
a Beatles feel there. Jerry, go ahead.
Yeah, Ronnie, I look at it like neighborhood as opposed to being put together. So how about the Allman Brothers?
Allman Brothers is an interesting one, and I'm going to say Allman Brothers are a Beatles band.
I was going to say Stones. I don't know why. It's just the soul of them.
There's also somewhat of a soul too, but I also look to if you have this thing about you. Like if you look at U2, you would think, oh, big frontman and then guitar player.
Sure.
And yet I still think U2 are a Beatles band.
What about REM?
REM are a Beatles band.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Like our own Stanley, Beatles band.
Beatles.
Was that me that rang like that?
That was your little beep.
Well, I also need to be charged.
I can charge you.
Here's Sean. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, Ronnie, what about Alan Parsons Project?
Alan Parsons Project are a absolutely a Beatles band.
Thank you, sir.
Chris, what do you got?
How about Huey Lewis and the News?
Well, it's Huey, but I like where you're going with this.
I would say, God, that's tricky. Stones for just performance aspect alone.
I'm going to say they are a Beatles band, and I'm going to say that Huey Lewis and every guy in that band remembers exactly where they were in 1964. It is amazing. I get to talk to so many of the great classic rockers, and they each tell me the story of seeing the Beatles on TV and getting their guitar or drums the next day.
Wow.
Literally the next day. And I always have that. What is that great Coen Brothers film with the hula hoop?
Hot Tucker Proxy?
Yeah.
All right, I just always picture all these little kids running in the music stores, jumping up and down. But, I mean, it doesn't matter. Guys from the E Street Band, guys from the
Right.
Byrds, you name it. If it's an American great rock and roll band, and I'm talking about just about most of the people in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that I've met, of that age, they had to be between like 11 and 14 when it happened.
But they had just like a really crazy ability to tap into young people. And I wonder, like, that's not anything that anyone would try to do. You're like, well, we should get a bunch of 11-year-olds to really love us. I don't think anyone sets out to do that unless you're like a Hannah Montana situation.
Yeah, I don't think they had any idea children would like them.
Yeah.
Because if you look at those pictures of the Beatles in Hamburg, like they're wearing leather, they're like rockabilly.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're smoking cigarettes and they're drinking and they're doing speed and they're hanging out with hookers and they're playing in titty bars. You know what I mean? So they thought we are adults.
We're pretty tough.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's interesting, children now love the Beatles. Like, for whatever reason, so many people I know are like, oh, my son's going through a Beatles phase. My kids discovered the Beatles. I don't know what it is, but it transcends time with that. It was not just because of it was a certain time.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
something about that sound where it's like rock and roll, but poppy and catchy.
Well,
it's just
yeah.
simple, maybe.
There are certain bands that have that thing that children like, and Green Day is one of them.
Yep.
Children love Green Day. Children love the Monkees for whatever reason. That's why they use them in the cartoons, and you just see kids dancing to those songs. There's something about that. And then when you see a children's act come here and we get to see them, it's always Beatlemania.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
Like the little kids are just screaming and they're throwing themselves against the wall and they just love music.
Because you remember it was like mid to late 90s and it was like all little children were obsessed with the Smash Mouth album.
Right.
For whatever reason, it was like,
'Cause it was in a
must have
cartoon.
they just looked out and I was like, oh, our whole audience are like 6-year-olds.
It kind of ruined them, right? It kind of
did.
like, they crossed over and then over and over
Right.
until they were like soccer moms and babies at their shows. Hey, Dana, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, Ron? Yeah.
So,
Hey, what about the White Stripes?
The White Stripes are 100% the Stones. And the fact that we didn't get Loving Cup when Jack White sang with the Stones last week when Chris did that kind of broke my heart a little bit.
Oh.
Because I love his voice with the Stones.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. Let's go over here to Ken. Ken.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody.
Hey.
Do you think the Beatles were the original boy band? If you look at the boy bands that come around the 80s and 90s, how all the girls went crazy, look at how they went crazy for the Beatles.
Well, there is no doubt that they had boy band things to them. But not only were they the first boy band, they were kind of, for Americans, the first band. Because before that, you didn't, it was either a single guy or like Buddy Holly and the Crickets, right? Like that was his band. You had Elvis and the Jordanaires, So this was the first time, and we were wrong when we thought it, but we were like, oh, 4 guys, 4 equal parts, everybody together.
right.
And
then like marketing them that way where like young girls are like, I like John and I like
Right.
George. Like became this thing.
I like the shy one better than the smart one, the cute one, and the funny one.
Right.
Now that marketing we may have thought was organic, but
Right.
it probably wasn't at all. And even the thing with the Stones when their last documentary that got done, where they literally said, well, look, they've got, they're the nice ones. We should be the bad ones. Like
Right.
going out of their way to just go, we'll just be bad and pick up that market. We'll be the
Right.
heels of rock and roll.
Which they were supposed to be rebellious. Like that was the idea. Like they have long hair and they're like, the Beatles were supposed to have a rebellious streak about them. And yet it was like most nice girls probably liked the Beatles.
Well, like we said, everyone thinks that the Beatles went from these, clean boys wearing suits into the psychedelic Beatles, right? Like,
Right.
oh my God, how did that happen? But we just showed you the rockabilly Beatles a second ago. So there were already just giant changes. But what's weird is, did they all say, let's let the hair grow longer, grow some beards? Or did that just kind of
Isn't
happen?
that kind of awkward?
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's all change our style together.
Stanley, you hear that? We're all going to start and wear tuxedos.
Okay.
Let everybody
Every
know.
show.
There's a
look
fitting
great.
later.
Matching tuxes.
Let's go to Bryce. Bryce, what do you got?
Hey, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering about a band like Tool, where they're kind of a heavier sound, but they got like different song arrangements with
Beatles.
You know.
They're 100% Beatles.
Yeah, they probably go in that category of, even though they have a harder sound.
Yeah,
They have Beatle experimental minds.
yeah, that thing where we all move as a group.
Right.
Like you would think, like I said, most metal bands move that way into like a Beatles thing. But if you look at into a Stones thing, but Metallica, I always think of more of a Beatles band because they're like we're swaying ourselves together
Right.
from one sound to the other.
They did all get haircuts together, too.
Gil.
Hey, Ronnie. I was just wondering about Philadelphia's own The Roots.
I thought they were the Stones. They're the Beatles, though. They're 100% the Beatles. Let's go over here to Anthony. Anthony.
Hey, Benningtons, love the show.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this, even though I know the answer. Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath was the band that I was talking about.
Really?
Yes, that I'm not sure whether they're a Stones band or a Beatles band. It would be simple to say that they're the Stones.
Yeah, that was my
But I
thought.
think they're the Beatles.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that they're the Beatles? Like, what?
Because they came in with that entire sound, and the front man really isn't all that out front.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's a little more confusing than that. And, you know, Ozzy is like supposedly the biggest Beatles fan in the whole world. Ozzy is one of those people I think that started a band because he saw the Beatles.
I would have not guessed that.
Yeah. There's an album that Ozzy just cuts other people's songs, and it's like Bowie and stuff like that. He's fucking great, man. He's just terrific.
And I think what's weird is I don't think that his fans would say that they like the Beatles. Like, isn't that interesting? A lot of times somebody could be influenced by someone, but the sound or the type of music that influenced them is completely out of the wheelhouse of their fans.
Well, it's almost across the board as can be, as that you'll end up meeting guys from bands and they'll be in a metal band and just love some country bass player.
Sure.
And be able to talk about him. Like most guys that are in bands don't divide the music up as much as the fans do.
Right. And for rock musicians, you get a lot of jazz and blues. And
Right.
then a lot of rock fans will be like, I don't listen to jazz. I don't
Right.
like blues. But that's what inspired
The
them.
number of rock musicians who'll bring up Coltrane and try to tell you that some song was influenced by Miles or Coltrane.
Right.
It's always mind blowing to me. I don't have the ear for that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have the ear to even find that.
Right.
You know, but obviously they do. It always kills me with a, with the ear of somebody that they'll go to different parts of of a song than I ever would. Like, I'm always going to hear lyrics and melody first.
Yes. Yeah.
First.
I'm the same way. It's hard to talk to people like who think about music in a different way.
Like musicians.
Yeah,
That's how they think.
exactly.
But I've talked to people who will say, like, they hear the production in their head. Sean Lennon was that way.
Right.
Where he says he hears the arrangement before he hears the song.
Meanwhile, you're just like, I like it because it gets stuck in my head.
Yeah,
I
it's
keep
fun
singing.
for me because those words rhyme. When the words rhyme, I can remember
It
that.
makes me want to move.
John.
Pink Floyd.
Yeah. That is 100% the Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Not even
so
close.
about the debt.
Jay.
Yeah. Foo Fighters. I'm kind of stuck on that one.
Not me. They're a
Beatles.
They're a Beatles band.
Yeah,
They're
Beatles.
a Beatles
They're
band.
Beatles, eh?
Pat.
The Who.
The Stones. The knife. By the way, this is why you know when you can make up games like this, you should never be bored on a car trip or when you're stuck in prison.
Mm-hmm.
You can just
I know.
force people to come up with this, and then you'll fight over who's who. Now, Chris Stanley, I'm wondering if we could go in the. I wonder if we could even take this back before the Beatles and the Stones, or it's just the place that American music thinks started it all.
So picking bands that were previous to
Previous.
precede.
If you could look at, I brought up Buddy Holly, and to me, that's a Beatles type band, and everybody in the Beatles loved him. But I don't know whether it works as well. And then I don't know whether you could do it with like solo artists. Like if I said Elton John,
Beatles,
right? But if I said Linda Ronstadt,
Stones,
you think?
Yeah,
because she covered them.
Maybe that's why it was the easy answer. But
I think if I was in a band, like I would go like this. We probably should cover one Stone song on this next album.
Which Stone songs, you guys?
Again? Because we keep doing that. So we should have one. Just one there.
And a couple we do live, too.
Yeah.
Just to please everybody.
Harrison.
Hey, Bennington. Hey, what about Rush? They have like a Beatles voice, but a Stones band.
No, they're a Beatles band 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So much that they would go probably like this. Who are the Stones? Newman.
The Canadian?
Oh, hello, Newman.
Hello, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Just getting back to earlier about talking about Beatles versus Stones. I felt like that was always like a class war, like the working class versus the non-working class, and I see it nowadays with like Oasis and Blur.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to get.
No, that's heavy. That's good.
No,
You're the
it's
first
not
person who
heavy,
ever brought
Ron.
up that thing. Maybe you ought to take it to Oasis and Blur. Another Stones band versus another Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
That's how far that they went with that. Ralph.
Hey guys, you're my new favorite show. I think there should be a third category. I think the third band should be Nirvana.
Well, Nirvana is an interesting thing because I look at most grunge as being Stones bands.
Yeah.
But I think Nirvana is a Beatles band, right down to having John Lennon in the band.
Interesting. I guess I would have thought Stones, but that makes a lot of sense to me.
I think of Pearl Jam as more of a Stones band, but they definitely have a foot in each camp as well.
Yeah. I would agree with that, but I still think, I don't know, there's still something about Nirvana, in the spirit of Nirvana, that seems like a Stones band.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's so John Lennon. It's basically the Plastic Ono band. You know what I mean? It's basically like if Yoko, I was going to say if Yoko and John had a kid, but they did. He's really nice, and he's really Beatle-y. He's really
Definitely.
Beatle-y.
He's definitely Beatles.
All right, so you're 100%.
Although Julian Stones.
You're 100% that they're a.
I'm interested in what you're saying, but there's something about the spirit. I can't explain it, but I feel
the
like
love
there's a
spirit, the
yeah.
hey, we care about women spirit that Nirvana brought to punk.
No, not really. I guess you're right.
We do love women, and I'm wearing a dress. I don't know. If you look at Nirvana, first of all, I don't think, he was saying that we invented a new category with that. I don't see that as new
so.
at all. It's still freakish how that blew up to be mass appeal. The fact that I was on radio at the time that happened is still even weird to me.
Were you like, what is this new sound?
No, I was just like, yeah, another band.
Really?
Yes. Why would we play them? Then I don't get to talk as much. No, but it fucked up all those other bands. Fucked up all the hair bands.
Yeah. I mean, after that, you couldn't really do that over the top, kind of silly, taking yourself too serious, sexy, like the way that...
And
we're edgy.
And very little of that, and I don't want Eddie Trunk to get his feelings hurt, but very little of that hairband stuff ever held up from a history point of view, where it seems like history is being awful kind to grunge.
Yes.
Just like history is much kinder to punk than it is to disco, and they were both kind of happening.
It's very cruel to disco.
Yeah.
But people still act like disco sucks. It doesn't suck. It was great.
It sucks when compared to funk. You have to
Sure.
remember what it took off the air.
But were the people who were yelling disco sucks, did they like funk anyway? Because I don't think they did.
No, they were racist.
Yeah.
That's basically
Okay.
a racist. First of all, when you were saying disco sucks, there was a strong kind of anti-gay, anti-black, anti-Puerto Rican thing
Right.
that took place there. They were probably not that different than the people who were burning Beatles albums
Right.
15 years before.
Just know if you're burning anything, you're probably the bad guy.
Well, if it's for heat.
What if it's witches?
Yeah, you are.
But they're witches.
Shit.
They're evil.
They weren't.
Well, they were helping people have babies.
Yes.
So they should be
Mostly
burned.
midwives.
Yeah.
That should be you, dude. That should be you.
What's happening?
It was earlier in the morning.
I don't believe you. No, I don't know. I have no reason to say that at all.
Talking and walking. Walking and talking.
Is anything happening, though? Did you fix anything?
Might get some good news at the end of the week.
End of the week.
Yeah.
Which good news? Just give me the last initial.
G. To lock in.
That's
Friday. Yeah.
okay. Here's Chuck.
Hey guys, what about Bowie and some of the really big glam bands?
It's harder to go when you're doing a single person,
Yeah.
and obviously there's Beatles and Stones. But my brother's back at home with his Beatles and his Stones. Never got off on that revolution. He's the Stones.
Yeah.
You can't get around that.
Mm-hmm. There's a sexiness there. There's
That the Beatles did not have.
right.
They wanted to hold your hand,
Right.
where the Stones wanted anal,
Yeah.
and then to mouth.
And got it.
From anal to mouth, back to anal, back to mouth.
Forever.
Although, I don't think Keith has had a lot of sex, if I'm going to be honest.
Really?
I think drugs were his sex.
I don't know.
Just too messed up.
Yeah.
I feel like he did well for himself.
I don't know. I read his book. Quality, yes.
Right.
Quantity, no. That was Bill Wyman.
That's the way to do it.
If you're going to believe Bill Wyman. And I don't know whether I do.
In retrospect, that's the way to go anyway.
What's that? Quality?
Quality. If he's going quality.
Well, it looks better in the papers, that's for sure. Certainly looks better on WDW. Sam Morril's show is tonight.
It's
He's
tonight.
recording his album. I'm not even going to bother asking Dan. You're the man to go to for this information. You're the guy.
You're the guy
How do
behind the
people
guy.
go to that, Chris?
All right, it's the Village Underground. Go to comedycellar.com for tickets. There's 2 shows tonight. Or you can go to the article on the iBank, Sam Morril recording his first album Tuesday night. The article's right there on the front page. So I'll give the link to get tickets. All free.
How do these albums ever even get released anymore?
Digitally? Maybe on your iTunes or SoundCloud?
Can't get a CD or tape?
Some people release CDs and tapes, but mostly it's digital.
What about vinyl? Love to listen to some comedy.
So he's recording
Hello?
a podcast tonight, is what you're telling me. A 1-hour podcast.
Cut up into tracks.
Well, yeah, okay. Dave.
Yes, I don't know if you touched on it, but the Let It Bleed album was kind of the anti-Beatles album.
Heavy. Oh, yeah, I read magazines too. Yeah, you're right. It was a slap back against the Beatles. We're really analyzing things.
Mhm.
Ours are done on a much more superficial level.
Yeah, that's how we like to keep it.
Yeah.
Right on the surface.
I always felt bad that the Stones didn't release one of those movies like Help, where they
Yeah,
were.
they
that'd be
needed a
awesome.
help.
Well, there was Free Jack, but just Mick
Well,
was in
all the Stones weren't in that. Although the Stones were supposed to be in the Stanley Kubrick movie Clockwork Orange. What
Really?
Kubrick's original
As the
idea was...
Droogies?
Yeah.
Wow.
They were going to be the Droogies, and like the other gangs would be like the Who and stuff like that. That was one of his original ideas.
Whoa, that would have been really intense.
Yeah. It probably would have made us not pay attention to the story itself, though.
Right.
And we'd just be like, this one scene, the Stones are fighting the Who.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you would take out of that movie.
Kinks run in, and it's suddenly going to look like Anchorman.
And then when shit gets really dark, they're like, why did they attach themselves to this? I didn't know the Stones were so rapey.
Yeah, but
I read stuff, though, about the Beatles and it's always hard for people to think this way, but they were so fucking competitive. And they said when they would do those nights where you would read about these things like back in London, where it would be like the Beatles, the Stones, the Kinks, the High Numbers, and the Animals all in the same bill, that John would come around and say some things that fucked with people, like right before their set. Somebody, I think from the Kinks, said that when they were announced, Paul was holding on to him so he couldn't run out on stage with the rest of the band. They were just very fucking competitive. Well, you got to remember they were little boys.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I know, but that's kind of how I always imagined them, was more like, wow, this is weird. All this stuff is happening. I have always kind of imagined them more just being like, yeah, I don't even know what to do with all this fame. Not like tigers after it.
I mean, the fact that they got up and wrote and recorded almost every day for like 5 or 6 years is fucking insane. You know what I mean?
Right. They probably could have relaxed a little.
And they never did. If you go back and read that shit, if John or George slept in, fucking Paul was over at their house like, hey, what's going on, man? We're supposed to, we've got recording time booked and we want to get over and do this. Like they were really pushing it hard.
That's how your success.
Yes, it is, unfortunately. We always just thought someone will see how great I am and come and fix things up
me.
for me.
You're a genius. Don't do anything different than you do now. You just be you.
Let me handle the rest of it.
And the millions will rain upon you.
You'll get money and fame and love. It all come to you.
And the ladies.
Oh, forget about the ladies.
Now, are you a quality man or a quantity man? I'll take care of it for you. Just let me know.
Can I have a quantity of quality, please? Is that possible? Could you just line up models and movie stars outside my door?
Take the third option.
Let's see if I can work on that.
Oh, he just said, is there a turd option?
No, that's the third option.
Oh, that's what you're
Scat
into?
is so
You're the
fucking
scat man?
unsexy to
I am
me.
not the scat man.
It's so unsexy to me.
That's not sexy. That's animal. You're animal. Coming up in a little bit, I might be crazy when I say this, but my best friend in the whole world, Paul Feig.
Wow. I didn't know you guys are that close.
Closer than that. That's stupid to say best friend. My best brother.
Better than any of your other brothers.
Paul Feig is one of those guys. I think we did the Unmasked right before Bridesmaids. And, because I remember, and it seems weird to talk about now, but like we went back and talked a lot about his first TV show,
Yeah.
As if that was big compared to all the shit that he's done in the last few years. But he, so when Bridesmaids, everybody just, he just wanted it to work. Since then, it's massive, and he's getting a ton of credit for not being a misogynist.
Right.
But he's one of a few people that I really root for.
Well, Bridesmaids just crushed it. Like, even people who thought it was going to be good, I don't think that they expected how big it was going to be, that it was going to be that kind of blockbuster.
I know. I went to see it in the theater, and I remember thinking, shut up, everyone, I'm missing lines, because there were those rolling Mel Brooks kind of laughs, where you're starting to get annoyed with people because you can't hear the next fucking lines because they're laughing so hard.
Yeah, that comedy killed it. I was definitely shocked how much, because those kind of comedies, especially if you see them in the theater, I don't know, for me, I tend to kind of lean back a little while everyone else is like
Right.
diving in, like, yeah, haha, this is great. And I was shocked how ready. I was like, I'm loving this.
Just running like it's a python. Because I remember when I was younger, I would see python movies. I'd run down. I remember, you ever heard me talk about Berkey?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
We saw
Road
a python film, like a midnight film, while having some purple food right before then. Because that was our big joke for Microdot. I'm hungry. Do you have anything to eat? I got a little bit something. So, delicious. I wish there was more. So we're fucking like literally tripping balls and we're seeing python and it's just so crazy funny to us. So it gets one of the big major laughs. I don't know, maybe it was the knight getting his arms cut off or whatever. The whole fucking theater is laughing. I'm laughing. He stands up on the chair, but turns and faces the audience, right? As this going like, he's being like this scary fucking goblin. They used to do that kind of shit all the time. And he's just going on, and everyone's laughing. And then you just hear them stop because they went from a place of enjoyment to terror. But then the other really fucking funny part of that is what it's like to be with someone who's being that crazy and you have embarrassed laughter at the same time.
You want to hide.
You want him to stop, but it's the funniest thing that you've ever seen. So you're loving it, but trying to act like, okay,
Stop.
Dude. Okay, dude.
We're fucking tripping. No!
His arms were going back and forth. This purple food is delicious.
No one will know what we're doing.
Oh, God, so stupid. So, here's East End Rob. East End Rob.
Ronnie B., where would you put Parliament Funkadelic?
Beatles. Straight Beatles.
Straight Beatles, huh?
Yeah, it's not even close.
Don't you realize this?
Like it's done. Like
Yeah.
they came up.
Done.
Okay, shit. All right.
Well,
Was going the other way, but
okay.
just bounce. Nothing you can do about it now.
Beatles.
The sorting hat has already told me it's the Beatles. You
Well, we
got to
can't-
go along with it.
God forbid the hat's wrong.
No one would even believe such a thing could happen until a magic boy came along.
Am I Beatles or the Stones? Sort me, sorting hat.
Do you really think? You're Beatles 100%.
Yeah?
I'm the Stones. Chris Stanley, I believe, is Andy Williams.
I'll take it.
Great, dude.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Stanley. Someday we're going to have a lovely time tonight. I see you as a crooner.
Thank
I
you.
do.
Yeah.
Much like Jim Morrison was a crooner.
Mm-hmm. He was.
Now, the Doors, Beatles or Stones?
The Doors are... God, that's tricky because I'm pulling in something kind of heady and weird. I would say the Beatles.
I say they're the poor man's Stones. Yes, you heard me. The poor man's Stones.
But you like the poor man's Stones.
Love them. I love the Doors. Love my girl, yeah. What happened to the Doors? It seems like they don't make any albums anymore.
Oh,
I have some bad news.
Well,
You remember Jim, right? Jim Morrison?
he was the singer, the bearded fellow.
Hmm. Well, we took him upstate to a farm, and
He's living in Africa now, writing poetry.
mhm.
Before you slip into...
He's more like Elvis than
well,
Beatles or Stones.
I think he's more like Bing Crosby. He's like, bo. Hey, everybody. Bing Crosby with the Doors.
It was weird. He would go into that lounge
Yeah.
singer voice sometimes.
She lives on Love Street High with the Doors from Los Angeles, California.
Well, I guess I like it fine. So far.
King of the road. Hey, everybody. I'm Jim Morrison of the Doors.
Oh, no.
Do you, oh, no, pens.
Pens fell.
Well, here's the problem here. Nothing can move. Like this new studio, let's make it smaller and put wires out there so everything touches everything. And then, you ever notice that Stanley, if anything happens, he's like Mom at the dinner table? I'll get that.
I got it, guys.
Something fell. I'll get it.
Don't touch that.
In the meantime, I bet his own apartment is just a pile of old clothes and hamburger wrappers on the floor.
Bingo. Dust. There's a lot of dust buildup.
Gotta sweep.
Yeah.
Sweep it up.
She lives on Love Street, just wearing a fucking sweater, like a really nice, comfortable sweater.
There's a store where the creatures meet. I wonder what they do in there.
Summer Sunday and yeah, I guess I like it fine so far. We're the Doors, everybody. Yeah, sway. There's like always things too, like as years go by, you go back and listen to music and you're like, why did anybody think that this was such a a different angle? Like you go back and listen to the Sex Pistols.
Right.
They were exactly the same as Alice Cooper or anybody at that time, but people at the time were like, what is happening?
Yeah. What is
I don't
this
even
sound?
understand this.
It changed everything.
Or anytime you think that music sounds hard to the generation before, and then we hear it and we're like, well, that sounds just almost poppy. It's
Ramones.
Yeah.
Ramones
That's pop
are
music. Pop
a
punk.
Poppy, fun, Beach Boys, Chuck Berry.
Right.
Why did everybody get so intimidated by them?
Actually, all this saying that, I might move them into Beatles now. The more I think of that aspect of them.
God damn it. All right, go ahead, move them.
Moving on over. Just click and drag.
Moving on
Now they're in this new
over.
category.
Rock it on over. We're the Doors, everybody.
I'm gonna love you. That song is like a lounge song.
That is.
That might as well be an Elvis song. It's seriously.
Come on, now touch me, babe. Can't you see that I am ba-ba-ba? Ba-ba-ba, tra-cha-tra-cha-tra. Hey, everybody. Should be playing
Martini in hand.
It should be playing out next to the pool, the fucking country club. Why won't you tell me what she said? Sounds like fucking Mike Douglas. Suddenly, he's got a big band behind him. Pa 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 pa.
Do 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 do. Hey, everybody.
Why won't you tell me what she said? What was that promise that you made?
Mike, go ahead, buddy.
You know, Ozzy Osbourne once said that Nirvana, the music, was a heavy metal version of the Beatles. And I think that kind of nails it.
Aha.
I see.
So,
I see that you are right now.
the sorting hat is once again correct. Chris.
What about Wings?
It's a great one. Wings are definitely the Stones. Linda McCartney is the Keith of the whole band. You know, Dangerous. Ba-da-ba-da. This is really embarrassing song.
I was defending the Doors once, and then someone just brought up this song. And I had to just be like, so?
So what?
So what?
Who are you defending them to?
Just a person, young fella that I went to school with.
I got a fucking phone and an Uber. Just give me a call anytime. I'll be right there. What the fuck did you say about the door? He's like, excuse me, sir?
But fucking, why is this happening?
What did I do? This was years ago.
Just my opinion.
You're not fucking getting away with this shit. You might be done with the past. The past ain't done with you, motherfucker. You're gonna fucking pay and pay and pay. I've changed my mind over the years. I listened to Morrison Hotel and now I like him a lot more. Isn't it always just shocking, like, if you're kind of friends with someone and then they say something bad about a band?
Yeah, it hurts. It feels bad.
It hurts. It's more like, to me, of give me back those things of mine because you're never going to see me again.
I have this, you know, when it comes up a lot, is a lot of people will dislike Tom Waits. And it's hurtful to me.
Let me just tell you this, because your generation got introduced to just noisy noise man, Tom Waits.
Okay.
They have to start at the beginning and follow him on this.
Yes.
But that Tom Waits song that he did, I think second or third night before Letterman, you know, about fucking leaving, it was just so stunningly great.
But you know what I think people have a problem with is the character. You know what I mean? Like that he is trying to do something, that there's a texture and a feel to it, and then they're like, that's phony and I don't appreciate it. I think that's what they
phony.
Yeah, that's what I usually say. You're
they're
fucking
pieces
phony.
of fucking just fucking trash that shouldn't even fucking be picked up, but should be at the bottom of a trash dump. You know, this is why, I mean, there are some people worse than ISIS. And we're talking about the people who hate Tom Waits.
Why aren't they being hunted down with drones?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I hope there is an afterlife and Jesus grabs them by the fucking nuts and say, what did you say about Tom Waits?
By the nuts.
By the nuts. My greatest gift to earth. Now, I get that people get turned off.
Yeah.
They hear him just beating on a fucking radiator and calling it a song. I get that. But you got to start at the beginning. You got to start the lounge stuff. And I also get the part where, like, he's fake. Because, like, I remember, like, when he got married and shit, I'm like, but you wrote that song saying
you
were never gonna.
But it's almost like he aged into the character because he was very young playing old man.
Old grizzled dude.
Yeah.
Night hogs at the diner. Hi, I'm 22 years old.
And I'm a train hobo.
I'm a shoe shine boy. And I'm a jitterbug boy. Hi, I'm 17. I told Mickey Mantle everything that he knows.
Why are you lying, Tom Waits? What makes you...
I was on the space shuttle. Came up with a cure to polio. Discovered gravity when an apple fell on my head.
None of these things are true.
Is he immortal?
Everything that you're saying.
Me and my brother flew the first airplane. I shot John F. Kennedy in the back of the head.
Just like you're rambling. You're rambling now.
I got blacks the chance to...
Female version of that, though.
Then they used to date.
I know, and it makes a lot of sense, because she had the same thing where she's like, I'm an old black woman, but she was like a teenage... Got a jukebox that goes doink, doink. Vice is nice, she stays in the back all day. Nighttime come. Hey, hey.
She's amazing, though. She came in and did our show, and she had a guitar with her, and she's singing. It's just it's unbelievable. And then she looks down while she's playing, and I'd wrapped myself around her ankles, and I was just holding on like a house cat.
I adore her.
Oh, God, she's amazing.
Cecil, get my coffee here and never take my coin. I got $30 in my pocket. What you doing?
That fucking song is amazing. Chris in Florida.
Yes, I was just calling in to touch on some of the women bands like Fleetwood Mac,
Beatles,
Heart.
Stones.
They're going to Heart is the Stones. Because Heart, you go back to Led Zeppelin. Mm-hmm. Led Zeppelin, you go to the Stones. And let's face it, a lot of those bands that came after, they're like, oh, we're going to be like Led Zeppelin and Aerosmith. Oh yeah? Well, that's fucking coming from the Stones roots.
That's how you trace it back.
Recognize that.
You got it. Yeah. You go all the way back to Adam and Steve.
I beat Muhammad Ali's ass.
No, you didn't.
Threw 6 touchdowns in the Super Bowl.
When? When did he do that?
Which Super Bowl?
1994 with San Francisco 49ers. I came up with dental implants.
What?
That's true. You should be saying it.
And I brought the home computer back to Silicon Valley.
Who are you, Forrest Hip Gump? Is that who you are?
Guy's been everywhere.
Lying Tom Waits. Lying his fucking ass off again. Don't listen to him. He's a liar. I went to school with him.
He was just a regular guy.
What'd you invent now, Tom?
He told everybody he was bringing an astronaut to the prom, but it was just an old black man that he'd wrapped aluminum foil around. Told everybody it was Neil Armstrong. Bullshit, Tom Waits. Tom waits for the truth. That's what he waits for. Am I right, girls? Boy, a lot of people mad over the Joe DeRosa thing up on the iBang. Mark my words, Joe DeRosa and Anthony Comey will be friends again.
They will
Period.
join again.
I believe it's going to happen.
I hope so.
We all hope so.
I hate to see unrest.
Well, I'm the guy who brought the Jews and Palestinians back together.
So glad you did.
That was you?
Because that's been a long time.
Me and Tom Waits. I just drove. Tom did all the talking.
I think it fell apart since you guys left.
Well, I can't, be there forever. I can't live there. I love this Vince Vaughn story where, so he's over in England, the country of England, and he's pushing his new True Detective show. And then he tells these people, we should have guns in all the schools. And they're, of course, freaking out because they don't meet libertarians over there.
Right. Well, first of all, maybe that's not something you need to share with other countries. Even if you do feel that way, let's keep it at home with this stuff.
Keep it in the USA?
Yes, please.
Vince Vaughn's going insane if he's talking about just throwing guns in Britain. They hate guns more than anyone.
So what? Maybe it's good for them.
It makes me want to watch True Detective 2 now, though.
It makes me want to watch it, and it makes me want to have guns in schools.
I want to know, who is it that is going to be trained to use these guns? Are these
Students.
teachers? Janitors? Just.
All right, I have a breaking news story. Can't do a spy report, right?
No.
Thanks, Don.
Spy report.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Sepp Blatter just resigned from FIFA after all that shit.
Oh, my God.
The Americans have brought down the strongest and best. And doesn't this mean that some beer will be drank?
Yes.
Sunday night?
Yeah.
Some dollar menu
John
items.
Oliver.
Yeah, but what did he
He'd
base
wear
it on?
he'd wear Adidas. He'd eat all the items on a McDonald's dollar menu, and he would drink a Bud Light product.
All right, so let's force him into that.
Yeah, he's got to stick with that. And don't forget, he even offered up Bud Light Lime. So I think that's the one he's going to have to go with.
Do you guys, even alcoholics like yourself, drink that?
I have tasted it.
I've had one to see what the hell it
Yeah.
tasted like.
Yeah.
It's not very good.
Not good.
Now, getting back into Vince Vaughn, I don't understand why people are so mad at Vince. Like, there are people who say, I won't go to his movies anymore because I disagree with him about this one thing.
If I held those kind of standards to people, I would not be able to watch or listen to any art form. You're not going to have the same politics as all of the artists you enjoy.
But is there anything that crosses the line for you? Like Bill Cosby right now.
Sure, yeah. Like, would I go to
big Bill
a
Cosby
show and pay for a ticket? No.
But you probably wouldn't have before.
But I wouldn't have before. It's tricky. Like, you'll have to
You'll have to go back to somebody that you really care about.
Well, what about Woody Allen?
Woody Allen wants to bring guns into schools. And
I continue to see Woody Allen movies. I continue to.
Yeah, but you know what? He was actually in a court of law and found innocent.
Ish.
Not ish.
Oh, I thought that was the ruling.
No, they're not going to. I kind of don't.
I kind of feel like they found him guilty, but then was like, "Well, we'll let you get away with it."
I am
this time."
almost on the side of anyone that everyone is against now. That's how much I'm starting to hate everyone, and by that I mean the Twitterverse of people who run around and do shit like this.
They just find people to just attack. I mean, it's just to attack for the sake of attacking.
They're mad at this kid last night. I'm not exactly. It has to do with. Well, Bruce Jenner said yesterday that he was changing his name to Calissa Flockhart. Now, what does he change? Caitlin. So this guy Drake Bell. I guess we just know him better as Drake.
Sure. I think this is a different Drake.
The rapper Drake.
He basically said, well, he's always going to be Bruce Jenner to me. And people were as furious with
Right.
him.
So he was saying he's going to continue to call.
That was BL. Yeah. But he just, by the way,
Bruce.
He doesn't even know him. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. So I guess my point is, go ahead. I don't know why you're telling everyone that. Like, I don't care. I don't think that this person should be like run out of town. But I also like, whatever. I'm going to call you like Pipsqueak Luke Perry because that's what you look like.
I'll say I didn't know
Run
who
me
he
out
was.
of town then.
Yeah, I didn't know who. Yeah,
that's what I'm gonna call you.
But see, here's the
Pipsqueak
thing.
Luke Perry.
But that's all he did was like bully back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, let's suppose someone got that mad at us for making fun of the way the Doors sang one song.
Mm-hmm.
There would be no way to say, look, we don't hate the Doors.
Yeah, we like them.
I have
actually.
Mr. John Densmore on the show anytime he wants to come in. That one song was just a little cocktail music.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big night tonight, Chris.
That's right, Mr. Sam Morril. He's recording his album tonight at the Village Underground in New York City. There are two shows, one at 7:45, one at 9:30. You can go to ComedyCellar.com for free tickets. And for any more information, you can read the interview Sam did with Amy Hawthorne on theinterrobang.com.
Oh, that's Sam sitting next to a pool, I believe, in Phoenix. Sam, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. It's actually 7:30 and 9:45. I'm doing very well.
7:30 and 9:45. Don't get there late. You're going old school and doing an album here, huh?
You know what? That's how I grew up on comedy. I appreciate an album. I know some people still do. A lot of people like to listen to it while they drive a car or something. I tell jokes, so I figure it's a good place to do an album.
I was introduced to comedy in album form before anything else, and in a lot of ways, I think it's even superior. You know what I mean?
Did you collect records? Did you have a lot of comedy?
I had
on vinyl?
some, but there were also things where kids would pass around comedy albums almost as if they were, underground things, because your parents never would want you to have a comedy
I have an early memory of I was listening to a Chris Rock CD. I think it was Roll with the New. I'm probably like 12 years old, and I'm just laughing my ass off. And my mom was like, "What the hell is he laughing at?" So she grabbed my headphones and put them on, and she was like, and she gave me a look of horror.
Right.
And then a minute later, she just started laughing hysterically.
What is my boy doing?
And then she got it. She was like, "Oh, this is really, really smart."
Yeah. But there is something about just hearing comedy because there's not a lot to see in stand-up comedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I used to listen to comedy albums all the time when I was a kid, all the time. And I would have to get them from my friends whose parents were kind of wouldn't mind. And I'd get them I got borrow the CD and listen to it constantly.
Who was it for you?
It was a Carlin album. And
which one?
It's the one where it was the parental advisory over his face was on the cover.
Is that Class Clown?
It's not Class Clown. It's I forgot the name of it, but that was the one. And then Adam Sandler's first comedy album, They're All Gonna Laugh at You.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Which I went back and listened to recently, and it's fucking insane. Like, it's crazy what he's on there. And there was one segment where it's just about a woman talking about jerking off her kid. Like, it was his like the mother was like, I want to take out your cock and balls. I was like, what the fuck was I listening to? I was 10. I couldn't even have gotten it. I remember crying listening to this album over and over again.
That was the problem. Is I used to do that. I remember my camp quote one year was, "Why don't you let me play with your cock and balls?" I was like 11.
It's
yeah, I agree. There's
Maybe if
something
we would-
very cool
yeah.
about hearing it.
Maybe if we would start and let 11-year-olds into clubs, it would change.
Yeah, right?
I'm
The mood
killing
of the
tonight. I'm killing.
I'm just destroying.
I went out there and I slayed.
Every once in a while, you do see like a parent that I don't know if they're really cool or just really naive, and they bring in like an 11-year-old, and I'm telling like baby jokes.
Yeah.
And there's a party that feels guilty, but you can tell the kid is like so happy to be a part of it that you kind of just keep going with it, you know?
When I did something, I did an unmasked with Brian Regan, a lot of families came in. A lot of families.
For him, it makes sense. But like for just like a show, when you're just bringing like I remember there'd be a kid, you know, pop into Caroline for a showcase where the parents don't know what they're in for. With Regan, it makes sense. But I remember seeing an 11-year-old, I think it was Russ Maneve was on stage, and he just says, all right, let's clean this up. Paris Hilton twat.
Yeah.
The kid loves it.
Yeah. I would always
But,
do that at my club too. If someone brought in a kid, I would always be like, all right, because we have a kid here today, and I get everybody to look at him, and I'm like, I'm going to do one Muppet joke just for the kid. All right, are you ready, son? These two bikers are fucking a dead Muppet in the back of the bar. And like, the kid was always just the happiest he could possibly be. You know, he's doing shots, and he's cutting rails for himself.
Really?
Now, when you have a set like this, you're doing the Comedy Central half hour soon too, right?
Yeah, I'm doing that next week in Boston, June 11th.
Is there any overlapping material, or are you keeping this different?
Yeah, there's going to be overlapping material. Because it's around the same time, so there's going to be overlapping. But then I'm going to, in like a couple of weeks, try to just start fresh.
Oh, you're dumping everything, huh?
Well, you know, you got to be realistic. You got to keep a few for a while to survive. But then, yeah, I'd like to ideally start fresh.
It's the funniest thing about comedy. No band in the world could start fresh. Matter of fact, if the Stones are out on tour now, if they do anything that's even 25 years old, people
they're
start
furious.
to go piss. You know, I'm leaving here and pissing.
This sucks.
Yeah.
What happened?
Can you imagine going to a Journey concert and they're like, all new stuff? They'd be like, dude, fuck you. Play the one song we came to hear. You know?
Yeah, I'm just holding on to Don't Stop Believing, and then I'm going crazy.
I hope they do it.
You think?
You think? On the way there, do you think they'll do it? But I don't know if any comedian has a bit that they can go back to, you know?
I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. You got to. That's the world we live in now for comedy, where you just got to have new stuff.
Ugh.
And yet, certain comics, I feel like people will yell out bits, and I'm not sure why you would want to hear something anyway that you've already heard. Like, it's a pretty common thing, right?
It's almost, maybe only if you brought a friend with you and you wanted him.
Yeah. It's like kind of like when you're watching a movie with a friend, and you're like, dude, watch this part. I think
This is a good part.
But have you ever had like somebody bringing a friend around and go, tell them that story about when you shit yourself in a Wawa? And like, I don't want to tell it.
and it never lives up to the hype. You're like, I shit myself in a Wawa. And I'm like, that's it? You're like, yeah.
And then, like, that friend always looks really disappointed at you. Like, you could see in their face that you're not doing it right.
Yeah, and you know that you're losing them. You're like, I don't know. I'm in the aisle and I'm just slipping in my own shit, and that made me shit more. So,
I'm feeling, dude. I just brought this guy around.
But then I still went and got a hoagie, and I just waited for it because I was hungry and covered in shit.
Yeah,
And
normally.
it's always someone like who's not going to appreciate the story too. It's like your mom. They're like, tell my mom about. You're like, what? I'm not telling your mom.
Tell my mom about that time you gave that girl VD, and she. So, Sam, do you got a name for this yet? Do you got a name for your special?
I think I'm going to call it Class Act.
All right. Love it.
I think it's really obnoxious when people refer to someone as a class act, so I think that was kind of a fun title. It's something that people always say when someone dies. They go, "It's a real class act." You know? So I think it's kind of fun. I don't know.
That is a horrific statement.
Yeah, it's just a terrible thing to say.
Only seems like you could say it in sarcasm.
Yeah.
This guy's a real class act.
Or that guy's a winner. Both those things. It's like that guy's the least farthest fucking thing from a winner ever. He's worse than a loser. He's probably in prison.
All right, Sam. Good luck, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. You got to drop by here, all right?
Thanks for having me, man.
Anytime.
Appreciate it.
Talk to you
Okay.
soon. Plug away, Christopher.
Sam Morril's recording his album tonight at the Village Underground in New York City. There are two shows, one at 7:30 p.m. and the other at 9:45 p.m. They're both free. For the tickets, go to comedyseller.com. And for the links, go to read the interview with Sam did with Amy Hawthorne on the interrobang.com.
That's great. Stanley, you're a real winner.
Yeah,
you
real
know that?
class act.
I don't think I'm either of those things.
This was always the thing in my neighborhood people would do, and it would fucking drive you crazy, right? So if you're like fucking playing football and you're like, your quarterback and like just in the fucking street or a backyard, and you'd be like, all right, just button hook. And people would be like, oh, button hook now, right? Because you're Joe Football. That's who you are. All right, you're Joe Football.
You know.
All right? Look at Chris over there, Joe Live Read. Oh, why don't you do another live read for us? Because you're Joe Live Read. You do all the live reads.
I did a live read.
Yeah, you're a fucking real big deal.
It's just a piece of copy in front of me. I don't know why you're getting so in my
Everybody
face.
would always, whatever, like if you acted like you knew anything, they would fucking put this handle on you.
Right.
You know, you fucking bring up a fucking fact from the 1860s. Oh, Joe's Civil War. Oh, you know what? Let's all gather in a circle around Joe's Civil War. And you sit and tell us every little fucking fact that happened.
I just know the one fun fact. That's it.
They didn't want the slightest. They didn't want anyone to feel slightly good about themselves.
Do not have a skill. Do not have a talent.
Yeah, don't have any interest. I just want to stand here in the corner like everyone else, hand in my pocket, wondering where that ride is. Just looking to the left, waiting for that dude to pull up.
Here's a term that gets used as, I think that they mean it as a positive, but it always sounds sarcastic and I hated it. And I think maybe it mostly exists in the workplace. So you'll do a small task, something little. Let's say you went and got something for somebody and they're like, thanks, you're a rock star.
Oh, I hate
These guys, you guys are rock stars.
Yeah,
What?
that fucking
What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Because I got a coffee, I'm a rock star?
I think it came out of the Wall Street thing where people in Wall Street would act like if somebody could get anything done, they were a rock star, and that those Wall Street guys are such fucking dude bros
Right.
that they make everything sound like shit. But I even hate it when people used to say, party like a rock star.
You really party like a rock star, guys.
I like to drink.
What are they,
What's the big deal?
what are the,
If I party like a rock star, I'd be doing this every goddamn day.
I just fucking don't know why everyone's just repeating each other's phrases anyway. The fucking newest is washing the balls, right? Oh, why you gotta wash his balls? If you
Right.
fucking say, you give somebody a compliment anyway.
Looks like those balls are clean because you're washing them, dog. Huh?
No, I'm not.
Just, I was genuinely happy with what happened.
Athena, go ahead.
Balls.
Hey, this is
Hi,
Athena.
Yeah.
I'm just calling because you mentioned Anna Leibovitz yesterday,
Yes.
and I used to work for the studio that printed and edited all her photos. And I hate to break it to you, but she uses tons of Photoshop, including for her book, A Photographer's Life I worked on.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was composite and Photoshop. So she would take group pictures and then, like, move people around in the picture.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's not to run her down. It's a practice that a lot of photographers
Despite the fact
do.
that she's a studio photographer, I feel like I always felt that she didn't do that. Like, I wouldn't have assumed that about her. But, of course, I mean, it makes sense. She does studio photography.
Right.
That's what that art form is.
And the company I work for is, like, top line. The guy who owns it was in the Sex and the City movie for, like, 2 seconds in the beginning.
Wow.
But
Wow.
he does all of the fashion photography and all her personal stuff. So, I mean, it's kind of interesting.
So
I
you're
guess
saying Caitlyn Jenner does not look as good as she does
Oh, bullshit.
on
Probably
the cover
not.
of V Fair?
Yeah, probably not. I don't work there anymore, but probably not.
But this news just out too. I don't have a 360 anymore, so I can't do Spy Report.
Spy report. Spy report.
Yeah.
But this was just announced. Bruce Springsteen now calls himself Caitlyn Springsteen.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Bandwagon.
I don't think it's bandwagon. I think it's more of a trend. I really do. I think this was a long time coming.
Yeah. I will say, though, her older stuff that she did in the beginning of her career, I feel was a lot less Photoshopped than
Well,
right. All
what it
the
is
old
Rolling
now.
Stone probably
yeah.
couldn't
Yeah.
then, right?
Didn't exist for
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she owes them a ton. At one point, she was behind on all her payments for them. It was like a huge thing. But yeah, I mean, they do so much of her work for her.
You're like doing like a little photography gossip column.
Yeah.
I know. Whoops! Good thing I'm not in the industry anymore.
Well, all right. Talk to you later.
All right, thanks. Bye.
She's like a photo mole.
So I couldn't believe this yesterday. It's up on the iBank too, where so Caitlyn joined Twitter. I think was the fastest person ever to get to 1 million or something like that.
Yeah.
But she gets retweeted by President Barack Obama.
Oh, wow.
And what did Barack Obama say, Stanley?
Let me find it.
Thank you. It's taking some time where he's typing everything.
Talked
It's
about
up
her.
on the iBank, by the way.
It takes courage to share your story.
I think the president's got other stuff to work on right now.
Yeah. Maybe
Looks like
that
he's a
should
little
be-
too pop.
Yeah, and it's like a little fast. It's just happened. You're going to be one of the first million on the bandwagon here.
Right.
Looks like you're a little preoccupied with Caitlyn.
You're preoccupied and she's pre-op. But if I was doing Vanity Fair, I would, I'd put up Guess Who's Not Born This Way? Caitlyn Jenner. I mean, we spend all this time on the gay rights saying people are born this way. They can't help it.
Right, but that's different than gender identity.
Why?
Sexuality is different. I'm telling you from what they say.
Yeah,
that
I don't get it, though.
But I guess what they're saying is they are born this way mentally. That they were born with the identity, the mental identity of a female as opposed to male.
In my mind, I'm an astronaut. Does
Mhm.
that make me an astronaut?
If you want me to call you astronaut, I will. I will
See, that's
honor
the thing.
that.
That's the thing right now.
Astronaut Jones is what I'm going to call you.
AJ.
Forgot about Astronaut Jones.
Love Astronaut Jones.
Unfortunately, so did he.
No, he's good. He's
Did you see his brain doctor in the Daily News? Says he won't be able to do all the stuff that he did before.
I thought he said he's coming back.
The brain doctor said this, not Trey.
I want him to be back, 100%.
No, you put X Urge.
That was a bad. That was a typo in the search box.
Ex-Tina. You're thinking about the old ex-Tina days.
I was thinking about
back when she was
Christina Aguilera.
dirty. She was so dirty then.
That was her best phase, I would
Mhm.
say.
You like the dirty face?
Yeah, who didn't like that?
I really like fresh face, genie in a bottle face.
I like beautiful face. That was my.
Oh
one
yeah,
thing.
that's a great time.
'Cause I'm beautiful in every fucking way. Your words can't bring me down.
She has such range. Oh my God, where's she going though?
Gurgling.
So don't you bring me down today. She says, your words can't bring me down. Then she says, so don't bring me down. Right. It seems like my words could bring you down.
Maybe she meant physically, but didn't want to say it. Like, don't slap the shit out of me.
But don't physically tackle me.
She's implying.
That's the range that I have. I can hit two notes. I can go from one note to another and then back to the first note.
Takes talent.
And what is she doing? She's playing the fucking trumpet with her fucking voice box when she does that shit with her fingers.
Yeah.
It's all in the fingers. That's what you don't realize.
Eastbound and Down is in this new fucking Cameron Crowe movie.
Aloha.
And he's just constantly doing this with his hands. And he's a colonel in the Air Force. And they call him Fingers. And he just won't stop. But they never explain it or whatever. There must be just tons of his material cut out of this.
They're like,
Yeah.
none of this fits.
Yeah.
So let's keep some finger stuff. We don't want to lose all the fingers.
Because, I mean, it is fingers. He's great.
His finger stuff doesn't make a lot of sense.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Bankins, how y'all doing?
Good.
Good.
Hey, about this whole, bullshit about you want to be called whatever you
think you are in your mind? What if I want to be called Doctor?
I'll call you
I'll
doctor.
do it. Just like I'm calling old astronaut Jones over
I
here.
will let you
That's
operate
like
on
Chris
Stanley's
Stanley.
knee.
That's like Chris Stanley saying he's not gay.
I am not gay.
But you are accepted as gay.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Whether you are or you're not,
Okay.
you're gay to me.
That's
And
weird.
Gay to me, too.
He's gay to all of us.
Yeah, you're real gay.
Wow. I didn't know it was to everyone that I'm accepted as gay, huh?
Everyone.
Yeah, but you're not accepted as straight.
Now that hurts. I
But
should
we all talk about it, like
Really?
when you're not around.
And we all want guns in the schools for each of the students. Would you allow guns in the school, Stanley? You're a libertarian.
Yeah, let's just put a gun locker in the school.
Put a gun in every locker.
Listen, then we're gonna need gun class.
Why? Then they won't pay attention. We got to do something. We can't teach them because we can't even teach them math. So forget teaching them gun
101.
safety. We can't teach them a goddamn thing.
We gotta make it like
hurry
a
up!
game.
I'm late for gun class. You know what happens when you're late.
Shit, I forgot my bullets. I'd be like this. I'm sorry, I thought you said gum class.
Spit out that gum and pick up that gun.
Yeah. This is what I would do in school now if I was in there. Chris just asked me a question.
Excuse me, Mr. Bennington. Are you ready for gun class?
Don't bring me down today.
That's not an answer. I'm asking you if you're ready for class.
They called you Mister in that school?
Maybe. Well, there was one teacher that would say that. Yeah,
I never
that was a history
understood that,
teacher. Like, I don't deserve your respect. You're a fucking older guy. I'm just a dick. I'm just high right now.
Which one are you? You're the child or you're the teacher?
I'd be the child.
I didn't know what happened in that improv.
Are you the dick or are you the one who's high?
I am a dick and I am high.
That's
Not
what-
right now.
That's what your improv was? I'm a dick and I'm high, but not right now.
Oh, no, that was just explaining what I said before.
I don't know. I don't know how you do it. Do we got a break or the guest or what are we doing? Coming back with the guest?
We should come back with the guest.
All right, let's break first. Paul Feig is next. His new movie, and I saw this with a member of my new team. I saw this with Joey Jojo. The two of us went out. I mean, make all the jokes you want. I guess it looked like a date. And we were both laughing at this movie, Spy. Laughing so hard we forgot to make out the whole second part of the movie.
Oh, no, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Having said that, though, I still had a lovely evening.
It was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
What was in that popcorn box?
My cock.
What?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, before I brag, it was a medium. So, because right away, bucket. I'm like, no. Don't get the bucket. That's way too large.
We'll have to watch 2 movies.
All right. See,
All right, sorry, guys.
You're paying attention to the movie part. who you texting with, Stanley?
I'm just shooting a text over.
To who?
To Sam Morril to thank him for calling.
You sexted Sam Morril?
I texted. I text
Oh.
everybody. I just let everyone know. Thank you.
It's not appropriate.
This is Chris. Thank you, dude. You rocked. You fucking rocked, Sam Morril. All right, so the new movie is Spy. It's a big, funny summer movie, and I'm a big fan of Paul Feig, as I talked about before. I just like him as a person, like him as a director. This was funnier than I expected it to be.
Wow.
Like everybody in the movie was funny. And am I wrong about this? Wouldn't it have worked as an action film?
Oh, totally, yeah. It's an action movie with jokes.
He's actually, Paul Feig could be a big action director. You know? He could go back in time and do Die Hard easy.
Maybe you should go forward in time and do another Die Hard.
We can't go forward in time, Chris.
Yes, we can.
No, you never leap forward because that hasn't happened yet.
Oh, right.
The
Good
past
point.
has happened. We can go forward in time 1 second at a time, and it's taken me forever.
It's a pain in the ass.
When you think about it, we're all kind of time travelers then.
I didn't even think of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I just want to say to you folks, don't get freaked out. I'm here from your recent past.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now, let me tell you some of the things that are going to happen in your past.
Wait, what?
We're going to make fun of Tom Waits, Jim Morrison, and compare every band to the Beatles and the Stones.
But we like Tom Waits and Jim Morrison. Why did we do that?
It was a different time, kids. All right? It was a different time.
Is the past pre-apocalyptic? I just need to know. So I just, if I
Do you
start
really think
prepping.
there's going to be an apocalypse?
I'm starting to think that, yeah.
I will tell you when the apocalypse is coming, and I'll have to think about it.
Okay.
There will be an apocalypse now. And scene. And that's the way to do an improv. I took 2 seconds and had a beginning, middle, and end. And everybody knew who I was and what I was talking about. They didn't confuse me between myself and my teacher.
Got it.
This is a master class.
When you say to someone, wait, who are you doing right now? An impression of yourself or the teacher? I'm doing both of us using the same voice and sitting in the same manner.
Does that work?
That's nice. I like to say that. I didn't know what he was doing.
You thought that was a gun.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, he's got a gun, but we're not in school, so it can't be. When is Vince Vaughn's show, Libertarian Show, coming out?
I think in the next month is when True Detective 2 starts.
I'm going to watch it.
I'm going to watch it, too. You guys watching Aquarius at all?
I saw the first episode.
Just ignore the plot. Well, every episode's on demand now.
They're all
13 episodes are on demand.
Oh, I'm going to catch up.
Yeah.
And go beyond you.
And the thing is, I wanted to watch on Thursday nights, so, because I like to have, and I'm like, I can't now. This is ridiculous.
Now that you know that.
They're all sitting there. But you can ignore the plot and listen to the music. That's faux show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, I do.
I just like alternate past Charlie Manson.
He doesn't remind me of Charlie Manson, though.
No, the first episode's like, I guess this is what they're doing for Charlie?
The
Whatever.
guy's just like this. Hi, everyone. I'm Charlie Manson. I'm supposed to be here today at noon.
Punctual.
Yeah. Punctual Charlie Manson.
You're a bit early, Charlie.
This is my impression of punctual Charlie Manson. Faster, ladies. We're behind on the Helter Skelter. Faster. No, the blood on the walls. On the walls. Legible.
Being really anal, Charlie.
It's a taskmaster.
It's not supposed to be pigs. It's piggies. Let's get it right, people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All good children go to heaven. They must have loved that album, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking just put everything together.
Great.
Yeah.
This really works for us.
Yeah.
It goes with like our whole thing.
I kind of felt like he was a little bit of a thief with a lot of his material. All right. Paul Feig first.
Yes, we have to break.
Commercial, then Paul Feig. Paul Feig is in studio with us right now. Spy comes out everywhere this Friday, June 5th. There's also an advanced screening on Thursday night. Go to foxmovies.com. Good to see you again, buddy.
Good to see you, Ron. My goodness. And so nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you.
Goodness, this is a thrill.
You just keep lighting it up, dude. You just keep lighting it up.
We try, Ron.
I can't tell you how cool it is to see this happening. You and Melissa you're in this kind of Blake Edwards,
Wow.
Peter Sellers thing, which...
That's a huge compliment.
Well, you know how tough that is to pull off. Most people don't realize that. I think the hardest thing to do to pull off is a good comedy.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it sounds self-aggrandizing to say it, but yeah. I do agree. Just because there's so many moving parts, and there's, when you're directing comedy, your one main goal is to be the guardian of the tone.
Right.
Keeping one tone. And the problem with so many comedies, I see it over and over again, is they're on one tone, and then to get a joke, they go over and they switch tones.
Yeah.
And as an audience member, then you're like, well, I don't know what's happening now. All bets are off.
One of my favorite directors just had that problem in his last movie. And he's a great director and has been doing it for years. And all of a sudden, the second that you see a character doing something that they wouldn't have done a couple scenes before, you're lost.
Yeah, then you just go like, I don't know if I can trust this movie anymore. And this, this was a tough one, and it was a scare. Everybody who read from the studio on down read the script assumed I was doing Spy Hard or Austin Powers, and I was like, no, we're playing this dead serious. And so I remember even like a big stumbling block for everybody was like, he sneezes and shoots him. So that's like, then tonally, that's crazy. And it's like, no, there is a world in which you could be holding a gun on somebody, you have an allergy and you sneeze and you actually shoot them. But if I play it dead serious and play it, very spy movie-ish. Yeah. And it's not like, oh, achoo, and, kind of camera zooms in, like, what? And snot on his face. Yeah, that would be terrible. So it was, just guarding that the whole way through.
So everybody is having fun doing this, but are you having fun? Why? Because these things can be thrown off at any time.
You know what? It's so funny. Whenever they put together all the behind-the-scenes things for the DVD, I always go like, it looks like I'm having so much fun. In every moment, I'm just like, oh, God, don't let this fall apart. And I can't screw this up. But I do have fun. My actors are so much fun and so great. But yeah, you're just every day is a chance to fail.
Well, I remember the first time that we talked in front of the audience and all, and it was right before Bridesmaids, and it felt like, well, I hope this thing, happens. Mm-hmm. But it went past what anybody could hope for.
Yeah.
The next movie goes past what anybody could hope for. Mm-hmm. And here we are now. And it almost is like people are trusting you to deliver this thing.
Yeah, look, it's terrifying because you just never know. Look, I'm really happy with it, and we've been testing through the roof, so we know we work. But, this is the scary thing about doing movies is you are in a medium which requires you to convince people to get up out of their seats, out of their house, drive somewhere and pay money. And that's the big thing that you just don't know. Are you going to be, compelling enough through your trailers for them to do that?
Well, the thing that works here too, though, is like the action part of this works.
Yeah, which was really important to me to make sure that the action was real, but not mayhem, but fun. Look, I'm a big Jackie Chan fan. I'm a big Hong Kong film fan. And so what's so fun about those is like, it's funny. You're laughing because you're like, oh my God, she's almost gonna get killed. Oh, how's she gonna block that? Oh my God, those Jackie Chan things, especially some of the great ones like Drunken Master 2, you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that. That's the kind of comedy I want out of those action scenes.
And there is that thing like you bring up Chan. There is this history of action heroes being able to pull off comedy, isn't there? There's a closer connection there.
Well, it's because comedy does well with characters who are overconfident, at least as foils, against our kind of every person.
Yeah.
And if you get a comedy star, get an action star and say, just play this dead serious. But I've seen some who you can see are trying to be funny and you're like, oh, don't
do it.
Yeah. It already lends itself to physical comedy. It's already so over the top.
That's the thing. Right. I mean, half the time with an action movie, you love it because you're laughing already. Yeah. But I mean, Statham was very, when I brought him in, he's like, when he first came in for the rehearsal, he's like, I'm not supposed to try to be funny, right? He said, no, just do your thing. And the minute he did, he just read through the script and I was like, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
And he is funny. I mean, the thing is about this film, and it's very different than what happens with a lot of comedies, because you look at Melissa and of course she gets big laughs, but everybody else is getting big laughs too.
Yeah.
Which doesn't always happen in a comedy.
Well, yeah, you know what? I mean, for me, I don't want to waste a frame of film. I don't want to waste one line, one face, one anything. And so what I like to do, look, obviously we get our supporting cast is great, but then when you start getting down into, look, Zach Woods, playing a guy getting poisoned, that was like a nothing role. That was definitely, there's a bunch of roles where they go like, well, you're just going to get local hires from Budapest, right? It's like, no, I'm going to bring people in because, look, that part had no jokes in it. I thought, this would be cool if Zach does it because I love Zach. Suddenly he, like, doing his dying scene, he's like, can I try something? I said, please. It's always my favorite thing when a funny person asks me. And so he did this thing as he's dying, he's like flipping her off and continuing to flip her off. And it gets this giant laugh. So you're like, this could have been a completely functional moment now turned into comedy. And we just have that all the way down the line with all the people we use.
Were there people that when you were younger and you saw direct and you're like, okay, I like what they're doing there. I see what
I mean, Blake Edwards is funny you bring that up. He was really a hero of mine. And then Howard Hawks, just because I love bringing a baby and His Girl Friday. And then, obviously, Woody Allen was a big influence. But, I loved Edwards because he was so good with the physical comedy. And all I care about with a physical comedy is that a physical comedy joke has to have logic to it. If it's not funny, if somebody just we've seen a million times like walking towards the camera, and they fall down. It's like, well, why'd they fall down? Did they trip over something that was set up? Versus Peter Sellers, talking, spins a globe. As he's talking, he goes to lean on the globe and it goes out from under him. That's funny, and you get why that happened.
And they could also, in that, like you said, with the overconfidence, he would drive you crazy with the overconfidence, but then it would break your heart when you really saw him in real trouble.
Oh, totally. You so empathize with that character. And that's the hardest thing to do, to get somebody to empathize with like an over-the-top, boastful character. But when you see, he's so benign looking and he's just so kind of harmless, it's just really a smart way to do it.
And also, you'll take that trip when Blake Edwards did 10.
Yeah.
I mean, Dudley Moore did some awful things as a human being. You're trying to break up someone's wedding, you're stalking, and yet you're with that guy. You feel for him.
Oh, no. It's a skill, but that's also why you have to pick the right actors, because, who people will follow. That's why the power of Melissa is people just love her, that she's like their best friend on the screen. And so that's why it was really fun with this one, to even start her out not like kind of a tiger coming out of a cage.
It's a different role for her, and you see how much she can do, and she's great. But at the same time, I've seen some of the things when she works places without you, and she's much better with you. You guys together, there's something really magic there.
Oh, well, thanks, Ron. We just have fun together, and we are so in sync about how we want characters to be portrayed. We need to make sure that they're three-dimensional, that they're not stupid. But that's our biggest thing, is like, she can't be stupid. Like when we first announced that this was happening, every reporter wrote, she will be playing the bumbling agent.
Right.
It's not going to be bumbling. Bumbling is not funny for me, but to have this person who who is being underestimated, is the comedy being underestimated.
And underestimated even by yourself. That's the great thing about it, that there's this thing where you see her move as a person,
Yeah, and that's I think is the most relatable thing. I call this movie, it's like Harry Potter for adults. When you're kind of somewhere, you think I'm nothing, you have no confidence, and suddenly you're told you have these powers, or you got to go and do this thing. That every person working in a bad job, or underserved by their job, wants to have that thing. But how many of us have the confidence and just go like, I can't do this?
Yeah, right. Most of the time, whenever you're moving through anything in life, you're faking at first.
Oh my God, totally, totally.
That as a director, You
feel like an imposter every day. Every day you're like, they're going to find me out.
Well, I think one of the smart things that you did is kept directing TV, and also really, really great TV shows.
Well, I was lucky. I had just been steered that way. I have to credit a lot to my agent, Renee Kurtz, my TV agent, because she would always steer me towards those shows, and I'd be like, I don't know, and this is going to be great. And so, so I got on The Office and Arrested Development and Nurse Jackie and 30 Rock, it goes on and on. But I think TV directing is the greatest school for any actor, because it's like the old studio system where you go like, today you're going to do this thing. When I did Nurse Jackie, I didn't like medical shows. I didn't watch them. I didn't know how to do them. And then I went in, and it's like I learned so much, and I had so much fun like playing in that world. And then all those skills then you bring along with you to whatever project you're going to do.
You also directed probably my favorite Mad Men episode, and I think that it's Betty Draper's best episode.
I love it.
It is the best episode. She's a very underutilized character, and
I really had fun with that one, and the style of that one and everything. It's funny. I wear a suit and tie when I went into all the time. When I went into meet with Matt Weiner the first time, I walked in. They said, "Oh, sir, casting's down the hall." It's like, no, I'm actually the director. I'm supposed to be here.
But you say that you do dress great, but I've seen you on those Esquire TV shows where you go out and live like a lifestyle. Is that you? Like the oyster episode, I just love because I'm a big oyster fan. But I love that idea that you're looking either for the perfect martini, the perfect oyster, whatever it happens to be.
I love all that stuff. I mean, that's why I wanted to do Spy, because all my movies and projects have been so working class, and I was like, I want to do something where like people dress up and we got to go to like international locales and show all that stuff, but then put a real person who hasn't been in that situation in there so you can have fun with it and make fun of it. But, I love doing that stuff. My wife and I travel all the time. We don't have kids. And so, and I love fashion and style. And
That was something you had ever since you were a kid, or?
Yeah, I think my mom kind of put it in my head. My father, he owned an army surplus store, but his whole thing was like, when you go on vacation, you go on vacation. So we always go to like the Caribbean or something, but they wouldn't hold back. But my mom was the one who, she saw that I had an interest in like dressing up. I'd read a Groucho Marx biography once. And it talked about how he just didn't trust people who didn't dress up, men who didn't dress up. So I'm like, well, that's what Groucho thinks. I'm going to start dressing up. Yeah. And then I just got into it. And then my mother would take me to the expensive mall and we'd buy a suit. And then my father would be furious because I was like 8 years old with an expensive suit that I was going to grow out of. So, and it never left me.
I love the idea of a kid reading a book about Groucho. It's way out of time. Yeah.
Well, I loved adults. You know, it's so funny. Like, I feel our society's gotten so odd with like everyone wants kind of perpetually to be young and be a teenager. When I was a kid, I would look at adults and go like, I want to be that. I would watch Darren Stevens come home and mix martini and go like, when can I do that? That looks awesome.
Yeah. I was talking about that too with the Carson show. The Carson show seemed so elegant when I was a little kid.
Oh yeah.
And, and you're being told, all right, it's time to go to bed. And you're like, but there's a cocktail party in the living room.
100%. I'm so with you on that.
Yeah.
I remember like a key moment in my life. I was like, I don't know, 5 maybe. And my parents took me to Vegas. And this is in the days when like people dressed up in Vegas and like kids couldn't even look at the casino. You couldn't get near it. And so they were going in to see like one of the Muhammad Ali fights. And so I was all excited. And then they put me in a nursery while they went to do this thing. It was the cruelest nursery ever because it was a big glass door that looked out onto the entire casino floor. And I remember being in there like, why the fuck am I in here with all these kids? Look at those people dressed up and they're drinking and I was like, and so it's just like, it's God is my witness. I will be in that room one day.
But yeah, that used to be the point of that all you wanted to do was get older. And now you see everyone trying to stay, and not even college age.
No, everyone wants to be teenagers.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not going to tell anybody how to live their life. It's just, for me, I just think like it's so exciting to be an adult and to kind of enjoy that stuff. And there's not the fun stuff that adults used to have. There aren't supper clubs anymore.
Right.
That kind of thing where you see these old movies. It's like, look, they put on tuxedos and they stay up all night drinking champagne and there's a floor show. Like, can we have a floor show, please?
So you and your wife, you go around the world just looking for bits and moments of this.
I'm looking for pure experience. I just think that's great. It's like, life is what you make it. And why is it so? Look, obviously there's always a financial thing to it, but even if you're not going to spend a lot of money, why can't you seek out sort of the nicest thing? That's why I'd love to start a men's clothing line that we sell at Target and go like, because I'm tired of hearing the excuse, well, I can't afford to dress up.
Right.
If you can buy a suit for the same amount that you buy for jeans and t-shirts for, why not do it? You feel so much better about yourself. But again, I don't want to proselytize about people dress up.
But I think it's a very cool thing, like that episode on Esquire that I was watching with you, where you went back and found old Hollywood and old Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. You know what I mean?
It's fun. And that's, martinis and these bars and, the Roosevelt. And,
Mm-hmm. There are places like that in New York and Chicago, Boston, Philly, but you have to go looking for it in the middle of all this kind of suburbia that has moved into the city.
Yeah, but that's why I love New York, and then London I love. I was just there on this press tour and got down to my favorite bar in the world, which is called Duke's, and it's in this Duke's hotel, which is really hidden, and it's where Ian Fleming discovered the martini for the first time.
Wow.
And it's a bar, but it looks like a living room, and there's a guy, Alessandro, he brings up a cart that's 100 years old, and he mixes the martini table side, and it's just adult heaven. You just sit there like, this is how life should be.
Sure. You got Ghostbusters. Is that what you're doing next?
Yeah, we start shooting in 2.5 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's that moment. It's that phase where I wake up in a cold sweat every morning.
And you're working again with great people. I mean, every time, some of the casting came along, it just seemed locked in. But everybody keeps bringing up, you're the guy that's helping women showcase themselves. Do you think it's going to be from a historical point of view that we'll look back and see this, what you're doing, as a real changing point?
Oh, gosh. That sounds way too self-important if I say yes.
Right.
No, I just think it's a time when I think people are waking up from some weird collective nap that happened. It didn't used to be that way.
Right.
We've talked about this in the past, like the 30s and the 40s. Look at those strong female and male characters were on equal level. They were smart. They banter back and forth. You got Adam's Rib and you got, His Girl Friday and all these things. And then it just became kind of a boys club where guys started, putting out their version of what women are. And I just don't know how it got to that level where Hollywood just forgot that there is a whole underserved audience. But I think it was weird. It was just a bad kind of perfect storm of like, women kind of gave up. I mean, other than getting the romantic comedy that you would get, the chick flick, which is, I hate that word because it's like, it's such a, free pass for guys of like, well, I don't have to watch that. That's for the ladies. And then that started to roll. I mean, people still kind of refer to like Spy. I was in some interview and they called it a chick flick. It's like, wow, really? Because a woman's in the lead role?
Well, we were talking about this the other day, Gail, is chick flick is when a rom-com kind of goes wrong, because romantic comedies are all of our favorite movies.
My God, Annie Hall, Sally Meets Harry,
and they have equal amounts of female characters as in chick flick. It's just, it's just the negative word to say.
Yeah, but because it's just, I mean, my problem with a lot of there's great ones, so I don't want to trash them all, but my problem with them is that I watch those and I can see the page. I see the written page. I see these, and it's always this like dialogue that's so written. And I think that's why people were so kind of thrown by Bridesmaids. That opening sequence with Maya and Kristen, it was a written scene, but then we played within it, and then they're just natural friends. They started toying with each other, and we're cross shooting. It's happening in real time. And I think for a lot of women, they went like, that's the first time we actually sounds like that's how my friends and I talk.
Right. And I think for men, we went, oh, they're just like us, humans. You know what I mean? They're human beings. Paul, it's great to see you again.
Thanks.
And Spy is it's tremendous.
Thank you.
It's, you've just been on this roll and you're killing it.
Well, thanks.
And congratulations to you. All right, so it comes out everywhere this Friday, and there is advanced screenings on Thursday night. Go to foxmovies.com. I'll see you the next time coming through, my friend.
I always love seeing you around. You are such a supporter of comedy, and you're just so great, and you're just so thoughtful in all your questions. So thank you so much for
I appreciate
doing what you do.
I'll see you next time.
You got it. Thanks, buddy.
What we're doing right now. 866-766-0339. 866-766-0339. Let's bring in the Pearl Man, because he's got the Basketball Jones, and so much stuff is happening this week. First of all, you got Stanley Cup, you got basketball, you've got the Champions League final in soccer on Saturday, and you've got the Triple Crown. But only one thing matters to this New York kid, and that is basketball.
NBA Finals.
Is it because you didn't grow up near grass that you don't care about any sport other than basketball?
It's an urban sport.
Basketball's my favorite sport. I play Little League baseball, but
but on a
basketball.
pavement. You know what I mean? And that doesn't really count.
It was. We used to play in Central Park, and we had to stop playing there because people kept stealing our gloves when we'd all gather around the field and have lunch. And our water cooler got stolen one day.
Yeah, we got a big game coming up against the homeless, and we got to beat them. Then, if that happens, we move on. We play the rapist, and then guys who pedal tourists around.
It was a tough league.
Yeah.
You focus on basketball.
Basketball. You've written an article right now for the iBank. How to beat the unbeatable LeBron James.
How to take him down.
Now, you realize that he's not the MVP. The MVP is across the hall.
It's Steph Curry, but he's the 4-time MVP, and this is his 5th straight finals.
You know what? That is true. He's not the MVP, but he's still the best player.
Still the best player.
But this is why this year I watched a lot more Gold State. It's almost like I'm tired of watching LeBron do LeBron things. Like, I've seen it for so long, I'm not as amazed.
But that's the only reason he doesn't win it every year. is for
Right.
the same reason that Michael Jordan didn't win it every year. Is just people get bored voting for him.
I'm bored with him.
Right. It's just like, all right, I get it. He's
No.
the greatest ever.
Now, what is? I'm just going to say this to Gail because you don't follow basketball, right?
No, it's the sport that I don't follow. It's probably the sport I follow the least, and I blame it on the squeaks. The sneaker squeaks on the court kind of give me chills.
Oh yeah, I can understand that.
So it's just
would it be better if they wore like maybe a Crocs or something?
sure, like a soft shoe or barefoot even.
Or watch it with the sound down while you're listening to music. I do that a lot with sports.
That's true.
That's actually a good idea. I think that I would probably enjoy it more.
Because I don't need anyone to tell me what's happening. I can see. Alley-oop! I'm like, I already knew that.
I kind of need the sneaker squeaks to know when they're moving. Or not.
All right, but let me ask you this. What is a better story? You've got Golden State. They haven't, done anything in 40 years. They're going back. The city of San Francisco going crazy. Or LeBron, the guy who grew up in the Cleveland area, left them and won championships, and they hated him. And then he went back there. They stopped hating him and started loving him, and he's brought them up to their going for the championship again.
I feel like I like the Golden State story. I feel like I like an underdog story. It's a team sport, guys. It's a team sport.
Not in Cleveland.
I know. That's what
right
I'm
now
getting
in
the sense
Cleveland.
of that.
There's only one guy on this team, pretty much.
Dan, what story do you like better?
I hope LeBron wins one for Cleveland, but I do really like this Golden State team. So it'd be nice to see them win.
They're beautiful.
They're a beautiful team.
They really are. They're a beautiful team.
Physically?
Sometimes you'll be physically, but the style that they play is beautiful. That sometimes you're just watching a game and you're like, oh, there's a little tear rolling down my face. Just the beauty of life. The way that we like watching Golden State is probably the way people feel when they go to ballet or something like that. Like there's an art form to what they're doing.
Yes.
Yeah, I think basketball is a beautiful sport in general, though. It's a pretty game, and I like the movement.
Well, yeah, there's beautiful movement. It's a game played by freaks. You know what I mean? Like really physical freaks. Like when you go to a game, and if you get seats on the floor, you cannot believe that you're in the same species as these human beings.
Yeah, they're so athletic. It's amazing. Although it is funny to me that there's no one has ever talked about basketball players using steroids. It seems to be something that's exclusively only baseball players use it to hit home runs, and maybe some football players.
And no one even brings up football. They're like, good, you're taking steroids.
Right, that's good. Yeah, you'll be in the league a couple years longer. But it is a weird immunity thing that, like, well, there's no way that steroids could help NBA players.
Yeah, but like soccer, it's so stamina based. Like, you know what I mean? It's more about that constant movement than it is like a moment of push and power like football is.
Yeah, but you see the cut on some of these players. True. I mean, you brought up soccer. Do you ever see those pictures of some of these guys' legs? There's muscles in their legs where human beings don't have muscles.
Muscles on top of muscles.
Yeah, muscles on muscles that make like a third uglier muscle. Now, do you watch anything but basketball? You watching this soccer game this week?
No, I don't care about soccer. But I'll watch horse racing. No, I'll watch football. I'll watch baseball once it gets playoffs or whatever.
No, you wait for them for the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then you're all surprised. You're like, wait, how the Cardinals get here? I can't believe the Cardinals
are
here. Yeah. All right, so you've got a piece up, how to beat LeBron, and you are picking against LeBron. What about you, Chris?
Oh, give me LeBron. He's going to bring that back to Cleveland and give that town happiness that it deserves, really.
Make that town special again.
Will you do it? Will you do it, LeBron?
He wants people to open up a small business, to move back home and open up a small business.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go there and be a tailor. I'm going to go to Cleveland. I'm going to just hem clothes for people and make that town work again.
That's his wish. That's why he came back.
I've got an idea. I'm going to go back there and just be a point guard for them.
You really... the four of us could hop on that team, and we'd be in the same position.
By the way, you saying that just made Joe feel bad. He really wants to feel like he's part of this.
No, Joe could sub in for any of us, and we'd still make the
Joe's
finals.
not going to start.
Joe's sixth man?
I'm the sixth man.
Well, LeBron has to start.
Let me tell you this, Joe. I know that you're upset with this, There's a guy that's starting that smokes 4 packs of cigarettes. You're going to go in quick. Like, don't even put your sweats on. Come in.
And I'm not going to lie, I have a little bit of a height issue for me. So,
well, we're just going to feed LeBron.
Okay, great.
We're going to feed him all day long. So article.
What's the play here?
That article is up on the iBank. How to beat the unbeatable LeBron James, and you
Yes,
say
sir.
unbeatable, even though he lost last year.
He's lost several times.
Yes.
But these are some, it seems right now that no one can stop him. He's really carried them single-handedly.
Through the East.
Yeah, but, there are other players in the East, and he has way less help than I think he's ever
No,
had.
I would agree with that. But the West is incredibly better teams than the East.
Oh, much better. Much better.
They could end up beating Golden State. I'm not saying anybody could go out and win this thing. But I don't think he could have beat team after team to get to where Golden State is.
I agree with that. That's
Good.
why I tried to
Thank
give.
God.
I tried
I'm
to
so
give.
nervous.
I tried to give some helpful tips for the Warriors and for anyone who wants to take him down.
Would you consider LeBron a Stones or a Beatle?
Wow. I'm going to say Stones.
I say he's a Beatle.
He's a Beatle.
I'm going to say he's P-Funk, 100%. I say he's the atomic dog. Right now, look at him. Like, if you looked at him and someone said that man was on steroids, I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, that's the thing. He took like 2 weeks off in the middle of the year this year when the team was struggling, and it's like, oh, he just went down to Miami for some R&R, and then he came back and he was playing as well as he's ever played. So it's tough to, it wouldn't shock me if he was taking some kind of injection there.
But why doesn't it concern, you think, basketball as much? Why isn't it something that they obsess
What are you going
about?
to do? Power yourself through somehow? I mean, it's not going to help you that much.
Right.
You're not hitting a ball farther.
So it's a vanity project.
Yeah, I mean, you're just saying, oh, you're great, you're in better shape, and your heart's weaker. But it's not going to help you with 3 points, And that's what Golden State does. They shoot out the fucking lights.
Shoot the lights out. They have the record for most threes ever. So I would.
How many threes have they got, by the way?
Oh man, upwards of 20.
Right, before that, the record was 1.
What?
Yeah, that's
Just
much.
one?
That's how much of an improvement this was. Let's bring some of this music down so we can talk. I mean, it's great to have wall-to-wall sounds.
It's the wall of sound.
Yeah.
Also, he's also basically coaching that team also, as
Yeah,
well
he
as being the
is.
GM. There was when they were playing the Bulls, the coach of the Cavs drew up last play for a game-winning shot and was going to have LeBron inbound the ball, and LeBron just there's like him in the timeout, and they're like, LeBron, you're going to inbound it. He was just like, no, I'm not, and he just took the shot and made it. And so the coach was like, they were like, can you explain why you wanted LeBron to pass it in? He was like, I don't know.
LeBron was right.
He's taking control.
All right. I like to say, Jack Burton says this in a Twitter tweet to us. Jesus Christ, when did Cleveland not become the underdog? We get close and you can't throw us a fucking bone and root for us. I remember when the Indians went in 97 and I rooted against them because I was living in Miami at the time. And I'm like, any other year, I would be rooting for you. And I think any other year, I would be rooting for the Cavs and Cleveland's.
Right.
Except for, I've been watching Golden State all year.
It seems like they're too good. They've been too good all year. They've lost 15 games all season. And like the only way I can imagine them losing is if they all have nerves, because they've never been this far before.
And LeBron, he's going to take this team on his back. He's going to swim, but he's been known to fuck up in the finals.
Yeah.
He's been known.
Yeah, but I just feel like, I mean, he's carrying them on his own. He's really the only guy there. Kyrie Irving's hurt. Love is out. So it's like if he manages to pull this off, that'd be the single biggest one-man accomplishment I think anyone's ever done.
In history?
And yeah.
Joe says, do you know that Arsenal won the FA Cup? Yeah, I watched it last week. And here's the thing. It was like 4-0 game. Like, by halftime, there was nothing even for me to cheer about anymore.
Crushed.
That's my new team.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not even that comfortable with them yet, but I just felt like I needed a team.
You need a team.
But then I'm going to root for little Messi, even though what he did during the fucking World Cup. last year,
I
which
know.
I thought was a fucking embarrassment.
Well, why are they your team?
I had to pick a team. I was over there. I was looking at a couple, and I'm like, I just like the history of this team. I didn't want to go to Manchester. You know,
No.
it's almost
Yes,
too easy.
easy.
It's like picking the fucking Yankees when you live down south. I always hated those guys.
What about old West Ham?
I kind of felt from some of my West Ham friends that they didn't want me in there, that it was more of an exclusive thing.
Right.
So I
okay.
went off looking my own. I wanted to go to West Ham, but when I brought it up a couple times and brought it up to some West Ham people, they didn't seem like they wanted me in.
They were like,
dicks.
You're just gonna hop on this West Ham
Yeah,
bandwagon."
it felt like it was theirs.
Did you swing by Liverpool? Well, some of my friends like Liverpool.
I took a look. I took a long look at Liverpool, and I almost felt like that was cheating. Like, oh, I'll go to where the Beatles come from.
Sure.
And
That's true.
I guess I can use this word that I couldn't before. Faggy. You know what I mean? That's how I felt about it. It felt like I was being immature with it.
This is a safe place, and we're free to use whatever words we like.
Yes. Yes. Post-op is my latest that I'm using.
You're acting like a real post-op over there.
You know, you're being like a post-op to me right now, and I don't like it.
As a woman, I would love if that became the new term, so that people are just like, oh, you throw like a girl, or you're acting like a woman.
All right, you throw
Acting
like a post-op.
You're acting like a real post-op.
All right, I got no problem with that.
Do you think I was saying this to Chris yesterday because we were talking about how good Caitlyn Jenner looks?
Yeah.
Do you think that she has some advantage of looking good at this age because men generally age better? So she gets to look good from the men aging better, which she had, and just leapfrogged over to the female side.
Do you know why people say men age better?
No, I don't.
It's because women judge us, and they're much kinder
They're
than
nice.
we are. We do not age better.
That's true.
And we add your like successes and life accomplishments into what we find attractive about you.
And call it distinguished.
Yeah. Which you guys do not give us that same privilege.
Well, we do go by a rock hard ass.
Right. We're like, he's so funny, kind to animals.
We will actually give
throw
points to
everything in there.
stupidity. She's young and stupid. Like
Real
anything
sweet.
I tell her.
It's so
You know?
sweet the way she doesn't know anything.
That's why people feel like if they get a young girlfriend, they're always like, they feel smarter themselves because they're going like this. Here, try this. It's called jam. All right? Something that's a little thicker than jelly, but I think you're going to enjoy it.
I love it.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to show you a movie here. It's very, very good. It's called Godfather. All right? And, like, literally, you will see a guy who gets sick of his young girlfriend as soon as he runs out of stuff to show
To
her.
teach her.
Yeah.
She knows almost as much as he does.
This is called an off-ramp. It's how I get off the highway. I got a
so
system.
cool. I love it.
He's got to keep going. He's got to keep digging deeper and deeper to show her things
Running out
that
of
she's
shit.
never heard of.
She's getting smarter by the day.
Shit, she knows about the thing. By the way, there's a bet on the iBang Up when we were talking about Messi, and it was in last week's game when they won the Spanish championship, and there's a Spanish name for all that. He scores this goal, and there was 16 different countries. They have him calling this one goal in all the different languages.
Oh, cool.
That's how people feel about that fucking sport, where the whole world will watch the Spanish championship. But we only care about one thing, the Super Bowl in this country. All right, just watch this. Chris, you're not much of a soccer fan.
No, I just watched World Cup.
And I'm like you. I didn't grow up with soccer. I got introduced during the World Cup. And now slowly, I'm looking at the other leagues.
I love the World Cup.
Yeah.
The last World Cup, I was obsessed watching every game.
You got the Women's World Cup coming up in a month. Jump on that bandwagon.
I think I am.
The women are great. All right, go ahead and watch this goal. First of all, if you're an American, you've never seen a goal like this. That's him in the bottom right-hand corner. The guy's surrounded by everybody. Look how many people are on him. Look at this move.
Jesus.
Oh, man.
There was a point where he split in half, rose above them, and then come back together.
Barcelona and Real Madrid and Athletic Bilbao have never been relegated from the Primera Division. It's something to be admired, I have to say. Well,
Look at that.
That's insane.
Look at this, Kevin. It's a brilliant run from Messi. Did he go all the way?
It's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
Why didn't you have one of those in the World Cup, prick?
No. Choke artist.
In the final.
Too busy dragging those kids out at the beginning.
It's in the spirit of fair play.
Sure it is.
רודפים אחריו. מסי עובר. מחזיק עדיין את הכדור. גם הרביעי. גם עובר אותו.
הוא גאון. הוא גאון. זה אנחנו כבר ידענו וזהו מוכן.
المباراة تنتهي في ثمن والمباراة الثانية في هذا الملعب والمباراتين بحول الله تعالى
Hey, what did he say?
هذا ميسي هذا ميسي
The amount of concentration it must take to do what he just did. Like, little men are running up to you and you're just like, still gonna do it, still gonna do it.
It's funny hearing them all as little men. Just because we're seeing them from far away on the screen.
They are all about 5'6", 5'7", though.
Yeah.
You can be of that height and be... Because I think Messi's only like 5'6" or 5'7".
Yeah, he's little.
But then he lies about that. Like, you see him standing next to people, and you're like, I don't even think of that, dude.
Now, I know I'm going to lose you guys on this one.
Guy loses.
But I will say that I think soccer players have the best bodies. I think a lot of women are like, oh, football player, basketball player. These are freakishly large men. I think these men are nice and medium to size, and then they're really fit.
Yeah,
they're so incredibly fit.
They're known for exactly what you're saying. It's going right now. Women prefer, out of everyone, soccer players, alcoholics come in amazingly a second.
Perfect.
I cannot
Once
help
again,
myself.
Showing that they think different.
They age well.
But it is true. I've heard soccer called... The World Cup was being called porn for girls, which was like ruining it for me.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I think the porn for girls should just be porn.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate.
Finally, we can watch porn together.
Yeah,
we
we
are truly evolved.
We have porn set up for everyone.
We don't like that porn, though. It still feels geared towards you.
It's been made as inclusive as possible.
Yeah, that's why, yelling horrible things at people while you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I consider Messi to be the Tito Beveridge of the soccer world right now.
That is quite a compliment to Messi.
Now, if I had to say somebody who was the Titos of basketball, I would have to go back and say probably Michael Jordan, because...
Change the game.
Change the game.
Innovator.
Championships, innovator, blowing people away.
Yep.
Also having a website with some of his songs on it.
True. Yes.
Now, baseball, who would you have said?
Baseball.
Because I'd go Ty Cobb. I'm going all the way back.
Wow. Jackie Robinson, I think. Game changer.
All right, if Jackie Robinson and post-op Ty Cobb got together, had a child, that child became interested in vodka, I would have that be Tito Beveridge.
And would have some awesome views on race relations.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, we all have to come together, it's that kind of world.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. In 1995, Tito Beveridge, that's his real name, had the idea of building his own micro distillery, incorporating the boutique winery concept into the spirits industry.
Now, if you had Tito, if he was an actor, Marlon Brando and John Wayne, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
With a little bit of Clint Eastwood in there.
Yes.
And oddly, this one's going to surprise you. Hopalong Cassidy, who was a better actor than given credit for.
Yes, because you've got to go masculine yet creative. You know what I mean?
Masculine and creative.
He acquired the first legal permit to distill in Texas and put his life savings into it, racking up 19 credit cards to build his own copper pots, stills, and condensers. Since then, he's been awarded a 95 rating by Wine Enthusiast, won the unanimous Judge's Choice Double Gold Medal at the World Spirits Competition, the Chairman's Trophy for World's Best Vodka Tonic, and many others.
All right, this is a great one now, since you brought up winning that award. Put Tito in track and field. Who would he have been? Because I got the perfect person. He would have been Jesse Owens, winning those awards in front of Hitler.
Hitler's face.
So much that Hitler leaves before Tito is presented as gold medals.
Exactly.
It's got a modest paper label on a simple bottle. So all you pay for is the exceptional handmade vodka inside.
That's interesting that you bring that up. You're taking it to martial arts then.
Mm-hmm.
Who would Tito be in the world of martial arts?
Bruce Lee.
You would think Bruce Lee, but he walks. I've watched him walk, and it's like Jet Li. It's just very cat-like and just, it's, and just sudden. Just, boom, here's your vodka. Here's your vodka.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Where did you come from?
Yeah. And then, boom, while you say that, he's gone.
Tito?
Yeah. And then just like the bottles are there. You just
floating.
Tito. Because if he was a holiday, he'd be Christmas.
Tito still makes his vodka by hand on the same land where he started it all, in Austin, Texas.
All right, I got another one for you.
Okay.
If Tito was an iceberg, he would have been the one to sink the Titanic.
Yes.
If Titanic was Russian vodka.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you got a picture, on the scale of it, Titanic is Russian vodka. And it's just like, I'm going to go to America and dominate. Are you? Because there's an iceberg, Texas-shaped iceberg, sitting right in front of you.
Tito's handmade vodka is distilled 6 times from 100% corn and is naturally gluten-free.
Are you sure that's 6 and not 4 or 5?
6 times.
That's off the charts, my friend. Look at this chart that I have. It only goes to 5.
Oh, my God. Visit us at Tito'sVodka.com for recipes, songs, and more. 40% alcohol by volume, handcrafted to be savored responsibly.
Now, you've been to the site. Do you prefer the recipes or the songs? What's your favorite?
I had blast checking out those songs.
Songs over recipes.
Songs.
I thought you being a girl,
Hey.
I wish you'd take a look at those recipes if you hope to lasso a man for yourself.
That's how you find a man. With all these vodka recipes.
Oh, sure. I know you'd be able to get Stanley. That's for sure.
She makes a great vodka tonic.
Yeah, women would say, "Oh, he's creative. He writes music."
Yeah.
That's how you lasso a woman.
Oh, it is true. I also think this, though, and that if you cook, women like you more because it shows that you can be in the kitchen and you're just not some animal.
Right, and it's nurturing.
And you can cook anything, right?
Yeah.
To impress.
Well, I mean, it depends. You just don't want to cook meat. If I want to be totally honest, if you come back with I just grilled these 2 fat steaks. This is perfect for our first date.
Do we have
I'm
any
gonna say
sides?
no. I think a man should learn how to cook something that's light.
Yes.
That reminds me, if Tito was a chef, who would he be?
Wow, that's crazy.
Would he be an Emerald Lagasse? Bam! Where he's throwing stuff in?
I feel like that's too showy for
Okay.
Tito.
Interesting.
Where Tito more leaves it in the recipes and the songs.
He's more like a Mario Batali.
Mario, I just saw him do a 92Y thing that they showed on TV the other day.
I saw that.
What? Were you just sitting and watching it?
Yeah.
It's fascinating how much he knows about food and how he brings it back to what hill in Italy and all. And I know people are like, oh, orange clogs, and I'm sick of it. No, he really knows and loves food.
He knows, it's ridiculous. He's the man.
You know who his best friend is?
Who?
Bono.
Wow. That's an unlikely pair.
Well, Bono likes food, and if you're nice to a celeb chef, they'll always have a table for you. And then the celeb chef can say like this, I always have a table for you. You're touring.
Right.
Is there a way for me to come backstage with my family? Could that work out? And Bono's like, yeah. Yeah, well.
He also had that TV show with Gwyneth Paltrow where they just drove around Spain for a month.
I saw that TV show and I liked it too. Well, I've been to a Spanish restaurant.
I haven't been to that one.
It's good. It's good. You ever been to Italy?
I've been to Italy, yeah.
I have,
What do you think of it?
It's pretty cool. It's a neat little thing.
A little show busy, though.
Yeah, it is. And my big qualm was that you had to go to different sections to get different types of
I know,
food.
that's a problem there, too.
How do they split that?
So it's like if you want pasta, you literally have to sit in the pasta section. If you want meats, sit here. If you're feeling seafood, you're sitting over here.
Can't get it
if
all
you-
together.
What if you're in a big group? Everybody wants something different. It was very tricky. I went with a group.
Everyone's split up.
Yeah, I don't see there any problem with people not sitting together when they go out to dinner.
See you
I'll
later.
see
See you after the meal.
I'll be in the seafood section.
Enjoy. Let me just say cheers now, since we won't be together when we get our drinks.
I brought up that thing earlier today when we were talking to Paul Feig, and he did. I don't know whether you ever watch the Esquire Network, but they'll just send people to certain cities, and you throw yourself into it and you enjoy it. Yeah. And he went into Boston, and it was so funny. So he takes the train from New York, right? And he doesn't. He goes to get oysters before he goes to his hotel room, which is really funny because he's got his really cool suitcases. Like, he doesn't carry suitcases like us. Right. You know what I mean? His suitcases look great, like they're from the 1920s. But I'm like, anyone who wants to eat oysters that much, I'm on their team.
Yes.
He was just carrying them home like a French person gets a baguette and just under the arm.
Sat down. No, he sat down and ate.
Oh, he sat down to eat before he even went in.
I don't know if you want to travel with oysters
I don't think they travel well.
Bad news.
I don't
if you can't finish them, you can't be like, box these up for me.
Yeah, that's why, like, even when I prefer, like, the, I forget what you call it in sushi, where they're bringing it out a piece at a time, rather than if they bring it all out. Right. Because you don't want your sushi sitting around for even seconds.
Yeah, it's best the moment that it has been prepared.
Some people will sit next to the chef right there, so he just leans over and puts it in your mouth. Yeah. Quickly, don't let it hit anything.
The air's ruining it.
Yeah. Anthony Bourdain's supposed to have an Italy type thing on a barge.
Yeah.
I think it's bargery. Is that what they're calling it? Because Italy, let's face it, is a terrible name.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It's like an open air market he's going to have downtown.
Well, it's not that far. I mean, it's going to be in the river. It's literally out on
is it going to take sail? Or?
Yeah, no, put it on the iBank. They're going to show. It's like out on one of the, where we used to, like a dock, you know?
It's going to have the same split up by food system?
Yeah, his is going to be from all around the world, though.
I like that.
So split people up by what country they're from?
No one is splitting people up. You're just walking
You're
around.
obsessed with the split up.
That's the weirdest thing.
You've taken the split too far.
It's borderline segregation, it sounds like.
All right, see, this is where it's not.
Not good.
Mm-mm.
It's not. That's a term we don't use when it comes to food.
Something we'd like to forget.
Although I do know people who want to segregate their food, that if their food touches
different plates, yeah.
Yeah. No. I brought this up not too long ago, and I noticed it in myself, and I don't consider myself an OCD person, but I noticed in my life, I have never taken a bite of cheeseburger before having several fries. I will have my fries first before I will bite the cheeseburger. And I would be thrown off if I did it any differently.
Now that you brought that up, I have been paying attention to it, and I don't think I have ever done it any other way. I have only ever eaten
Has
fries.
any human ever bit into his cheeseburger first?
I'll maybe have one or two fries, and then
That's
I'll
all
have
you need to do.
I'll have the whole burger, and then I save most of the fries for after.
So you're actually thinking about it more than me just noticing what I do.
Right.
You made
You
up
have a
a
system.
thing. 2 fries, finish your meat, back to Fry Town.
I can't-
then finally get your shake.
Can't go back and forth.
Now, this is a thing in when it comes to segregation.
Yes.
Now that you brought it up, I'm going to bring up a segregation case to you guys.
Okay.
See whether you think it's a good idea or not. The Tampa Bay Lightning Rings, they have said, we are playing Chicago. We don't want to sell tickets to anybody from Chicago. If we find out you're calling for tickets and you don't have a Florida address, right? Connect it with your credit card. We have the right to not sell you those tickets. They also said this in certain sections. If you are wearing anything other than lightning ring gear, you're thrown out, or first you're asked to take it off. If not, you'll be escorted out.
The second thing seems extreme. But the first one, they just want their fans in there and they want to give their fans priority. I think that's totally fine.
I understand that's the one, but you're taking away an organic experience of watching live sports. Now it is an orchestrated event,
Right.
and I don't think that's what we're going for. That seems ridiculous. I
Well,
think that's a dumb idea.
Any team that does that is clearly aware that most people are going to be rooting for Chicago.
Well, yes, that's the weird thing about that. It's like they're trying to train their fans to be fans.
Right.
Now, and this also happens in football now because places like Green Bay will travel. And when you're in Florida, I've been to that Tampa Stadium when there's more Green Bay or Chicago Bears fans there than locals. But that is because also a lot of season ticket people sell their tickets, double the price to some of those places.
It happens all the time at Cowboys Stadium. The visiting teams are louder than the Cowboys fans.
But you would never, like the Packers would never have to tell their fans, "Oh, we're only giving tickets to Green Bay fans," because it's going to be overwhelming support for them already.
Yes,
it's
and you
built
don't have to tell their local people not to sell their tickets to fucking Miami or Minnesota Vikings people. They know it. They don't have to be known that.
And love that team more than anything.
Now, they also said this in Tampa. They're going to walk around and look at people. And if you're eating a hot dog that has cucumbers and lettuce, a Chicago-style hot dog, they will come over with a spoon and take off all your condiments and just ask you to eat it with mustard or ketchup and dog. Nothing else.
That seems like it's really taking it far.
Yeah, but that Chicago dog, it is kind of salad-based, but it's delicious.
How much is that really going to help the Lightning, though?
The Lightning Rings is their whole name. I think it'll help them quite a bit to know that people are eating a hot dog somewhat Tampa-based.
They've created a true home field advantage here by doing this. I mean,
because I'd be skating up going, is he eating a Chicago dog? And then go right in. I just crashed into the ground.
The puck would hit your face.
Yeah. Chris Stanley, who are you pulling for on this?
I'm pulling for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Based on the fact
I visited Tampa once. I've never been to Chicago.
You've never been to Chicago?
Never been to Chicago. Never been. I've actually, I'd like to go to Chicago, but never been.
So
haven't been much of anywhere, Dan.
I've been nowhere, man. I've been nowhere. Haven't been to Chicago. Haven't been to St. Louis. Haven't been to Arkansas. So you've been to Tampa.
Yes.
And left a little piece of your heart there.
Yep.
And now hope that they'll win hockey. Even though, obviously, the people who live in Tampa don't even care enough to drive over and watch the game.
Do not care.
Yeah.
Did someone get a cheesecake, by the way?
She was supposed to today, yeah.
Oh.
I did a mayor's bet against my niece, who is a big, like you, Stanley, is a giant Lightning Bolts fan.
Love the Bolts.
So when they played the Rangers, I did the mayor's bet, putting a cheesecake up, but then was sitting there the whole game, like, hoping, like, I hope I send this kid this cheesecake.
Right.
And not make her figure out how to send a key lime pie up here.
Oh, boy, do I wish, though, that we had that key lime pie.
I'll just order one. If that's what you really want. I mean, we don't have to take it from a little girl's dreams.
So much sweeter then, though.
Knowing that her tears are part of this pie.
Ooh, her sweet defeat.
Can I ask why you think Florida doesn't seem to have hardcore fans of any team? Like Jacksonville, the Jaguars games, there's like 14 people there. Miami, like even when the Heat were in the finals, they were like leaving right before Game 6.
They're into college.
Well, they like college a lot, but they generally didn't grow up with those teams, so they don't care about them.
Yeah.
There's not a steep tradition like there is in the Northeast and the Midwest. And unlike people in Cleveland or Cincinnati or Pittsburgh, they can go boating during the game. They're they're actually giving something up to go to that sporting event.
So like everything on the outside is way more fun.
Yeah.
Right.
I heard your aunt trying to convince her kids last night. They're like not taking a travel vacation because their house is being renovated. So they're like, we're thinking we want to just get a hotel room on the beach for a week or 2 weeks and the kids go there. And they're like, no, that's stupid. And she's like trying to convince. I'm like, who the fuck wouldn't want to stay on the beach in
I know.
in Florida? It would be fantastic
all the time.
Yeah.
Like we used to have vacations that were like 10-minute, 15-minute drives.
Just drive
This
over,
weekend.
stay in the hotel, just spend the weekend.
Just down the road.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. There was a spa. There was,
Right.
lovely frozen drinks next to the pool.
Right.
I mean, you're staying at a vacation place. It's like if you lived in Hawaii, would you be like, oh, I want to get out of here. It's ugly.
It's all the advantages of being away, but you don't have to get a map. There's no,
Yes, that's exactly
there's
it.
no, there's
The
no, there's no
inconvenience.
tourists being nasty to
Look,
you.
I
You know
know-
the language.
I know that you grew up in New York, but you could take a fine New York vacation here.
Yeah.
You know,
I could
it
go
would be
to-
nice for you.
I could get on the ferry or something.
Yeah, nice.
You don't
Roosevelt
have-
Island.
By the way, Roosevelt Island is where Hillary Clinton is kicking off. She's going to go to Roosevelt Island, and bringing her up on stage, and this is amazing, is Haffy. Haffy is going,
Wow.
We used to call this guy Haffy because he literally had no bottom half.
He had no half.
to him at all.
And not enough to sit in a wheelchair. Like he had to be on a gurney. He had enough
And he was
amputated there.
always
Yeah.
hungry. He's
Was there an
always-
accident?
I didn't ask him.
No,
You don't
it's-
ask people
it's
that.
Private.
Like, how did you get to be this way?
Oh, but maybe you'd volunteer it.
Have you ever been to Roosevelt Island before?
Yes.
That's funny because a lot of New Yorkers
Most
haven't.
haven't. And they don't even know. They say like, oh, what do you take that little box over there? And these are people who have lived there like
Right.
tram. It's the tram.
Like Chris has to drive. You'd probably go the Roosevelt Island stop every day.
Yeah, I mean,
Or are you
I'm
on the other side
I'm
of
on
it?
the other side, but the our train goes to Roosevelt Island every day.
So what are you on the high part of Roosevelt Island?
Yeah,
You know, there could be another stop there, and I never knew why they never did that.
it's weird.
Silly that they
But
didn't.
I'll say this, and maybe Chris, this is true also from growing up in New York, but like,
Let's see if you
was
guys
trying
have
to
something
trying to
common.
relate.
That was nice.
See if we connect on this.
But I've only been to a lot of these places when other people have visited and then showing them around. So in showing them touristy stuff, I've
Right.
seen it for the first time. Chris?
The only tourist stuff I did was when my school took me because no one visits me.
Okay, so sad.
I tried.
Sad.
Like Ellis Island.
All right, wait a minute. Hold on. What if we did a thing, win a weekend with Stanley, where
That would be
one of
great.
our listeners gets to come around and be with you? Because I always wanted to do this, a jump around with Jeffrey Gurian, because A, it's ridiculous,
Yeah,
and B, the people that he runs into are
every single night.
He should host a jump around. Like you go around. Everyone does. You know, like he takes like 15, like a tour group.
I know one of the things that he was doing for a while, and this is really weird. There was some tour group that would go to around, and they would be in the Upper East Side, and they would stop at the comedy club on the Upper East Side, the one that Eddie.
Oh yeah,
Murphy's-
comic strip. Yeah.
They would stop there, and when they took the 15 or 20 people in there, Jeffrey Gurian would be sitting on the stage, tell them the history of the comic strip, and then try to sell them his book.
That's amazing.
Good gimmick.
Billy Crystal was the first act up here. Now, Jerry Seinfeld, I believe you're familiar with him. He was the MC here, and they paid him in nothing more than cheeseburgers. Now, if you will look back at this store here, this is where Eddie Murphy walked in the first night, having nothing more than 5 minutes and a James Brown impression.
Great gimmick.
We didn't even have
Are
to
these
go on the
stories in the
tour.
book?
Yes, except for I try to bring my own self into every story. Most of the stories end with a picture of me with that person.
Wow, interactive.
I have 20,000 pictures of myself with celebrities, and I'm going to show them all to you right now, one at a time.
Are there any other stops in this tour?
This is me with Brett Butler. See that? She's got her arm around me.
Wow, what happened to her?
This is me and Jackie Mason. Here I am with the guy who works the bathroom stalls at Caroline's.
I don't even know who that is, sir.
If you look, the feet down there belong to Woody Allen.
No torso shots?
He's been jumping around for decades.
Yeah, he has been jumping around forever.
You think he'd get tired?
You guys sometime need to go to his apartment. His apartment, beautiful.
I'd love to.
It's two apartments combined together, right?
Oh,
on
Jesus.
2nd Avenue, gorgeous, right? Everything is white. But so he's got pictures lined up exactly like you're in a comedy club. There are pictures of him and comedians.
Just headshots.
No, it's pictures of him next to the person, but they're set up the same way, so they cover the walls and down the halls.
I would love to see his
fucking
goddamn
crazy.
apartment. Can you smoke in there? You think?
Well, he's got 2 different balconies, so yeah, you're free to do
All
that.
right.
Walk out on the balconies.
I hope he invites us over.
He would have you anytime.
Get like a nice little party going.
Well, he doesn't, he keeps an eye on that.
Yeah, well, hang
He's
out.
not like you guys.
Hangout sesh, I mean.
You guys don't realize how many people you drag underwater with you just by the things that you say and do.
No.
Didn't realize it was that bad.
Oh, yeah, it's bad.
Oh.
It's tempting.
Oh.
When you start with your funny stories, it's tempting.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only person I respect right now is JoJo because he won't do meth or heroin.
Not yet. Unless you guys know.
Pussy, little pussy.
All right, fine, I'll do it.
Well, he won't do age and he won't snort crack.
So funny.
Someone find me a vein.
Find your own vein.
Yeah, we don't have to do
That's
that
the
for
greatest
you.
thing ever. I know what vein you want to find, don't you? Fucking sick prick.
Just a guy who's so easily peer pressured. You say
Yeah.
you call him a pussy twice, and he does
That's all it
heroin.
takes.
I'll do it.
It's like Michael J. Fox when he called him chicken. He is ready to race.
I don't know why he was so pissed. I mean, he had a time machine. Really, everyone could blow him. After
You like being called chicken?
I'm saying he had a time machine. You shouldn't let those guys get inside his head.
So
No,
worst
it's not
thing-
nice to be called that.
The worst thing you can call a person.
You could just go back in time 5 minutes before they call him that and punch him right in their face.
I think that starts like some sort of temporal rip. Temporal rift. That's it.
You're rifting over there, aren't you?
Time travel is very confusing because what?
Go ahead.
All right, so you talked about traveling to the future.
He's laughing because you can't hold a regular conversation, and now you're ready to fucking go straight to pot talk. Go ahead.
Okay.
Temporal rift.
All right, so temporal rifts. If he goes back in time, and according to Time Cop rules, if he touched himself, they would both die. Correct?
That's Time Cop rules.
Yeah.
They're not in every one, though.
Now, if you're going back into the future, are you just going into alternate realities, or is there just one set timeline?
Well, the fact is, if you changed anything, you would be going to the other timeline.
Right.
The new future.
Yeah, which there is no guarantee it exists unless you're in it right then and there.
Well, there's no guarantee that any future exists, right? You could always, one of the problems of time travel is that you go back to where your future would be and something had happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're going to emptiness. That's what would be fucking frightening about, let's say, I want to go 400 fucking years in the future. You could just be showing up on a rock planet or just, some asteroid belt because something happened to Earth.
I would go right back. Maybe I'd hang for 20 minutes or so.
No, there'd be fallout. I mean, I guess there's been nuclear war, alien something, so you
Plus,
probably...
you got to recharge.
Yeah.
That's true. Maybe I'd take a nap.
Right, you're not taking a nap, dude. Anyone who naps in the future is fucking...
You're asking for trouble.
Yeah.
The future's about less sleep. I mean,
Right.
they just need you to do some sort of weird supplement to just keep us alive all the
So
time.
your thing goes back to this, Chris. A lot of people thinks that's fucking so smart of me to say, but a lot of people think that every decision that you've ever made, right?
Yeah.
There's another you who went in the other direction,
Yes.
right? So there is multiple and basically an endless amount of universes made. And then I saw this thing of the way it would be shaped is almost like they're bubble universes or the bubble universes. So think of it as soap bubbles that just keep going out.
God.
And there's universes inside of that. So there's some universe right now that the President of the United States would be, because of what happened with Al Gore, and then after that, so there's infinite amount of things that could have changes, and then every change of your life,
Right. And how you're affected by other people's changes.
right?
Then creates more bubbles.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Are you in someone else's universe or your own? That's the thing to
Right.
think about.
I think we're all in our best universe. that you're only like your consciousness just like defers to the most positive one.
I think
So
we're all in
somewhere
our
there's-
third best.
I think that this is as well as any of us would be doing is depressing. You know what I mean? That's depressing. I think we all could be doing a lot better than this.
And yet we're not. We're at the top of our game in our universe, in our little bubble.
And there, in some universe, you could count on HR. I believe that.
Not this one though.
There's some universe where you're like, HR is amazing.
They're on top of it.
They set me up.
But like, there is some universe out there, right? Like, let's say Boy George is running England right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then there's another universe where Boy George is a fucking hatchet murderer. You know? And it goes on infinitely that way.
Or like, you ever even think about if your name was something different? Like if you had a
Yes.
different first name or even last name, if you had a different name, how many things would be different in your life? Like, would it change your personality? Would it change the way people treat you?
But do you know what my parents almost named me?
What's that?
Sam Peckinpah. Now,
Wow.
could you imagine the westerns I would have made?
Wow.
Sick.
Yeah.
You'd have been set.
I know. Be like, all right, I got an idea. It's called Wild Bunch. Follow me, everybody.
Good work,
I'm a little
Sam.
rougher than you expected me in the past.
Let's follow this guy. He knows what he's doing.
I'll literally put a boot up your ass. No, but they did. They almost named me Tommy Toon. And that would have been odd.
Yeah, that would have been weird.
Let's dance, everyone. I'm Tommy Toon.
This is what I was thinking. You think it would be cool if we stopped having you stopped being allowed to have the same name as somebody else? Like everyone had to have an original name,
Like
kind of like
AOL
social
names.
security number. Exactly. Like
Or a Cabbage
email
Patch
address or
Kid.
something.
You would probably be Dan Perlman 17.
Yeah. That's at least.
That
yeah.
sounds cool,
There's a lot of them. Yeah, I would take that. I think we should make that rule.
Well, black people are trying to do it. They're going out of their way to name their children things that have never been named that before.
And celebrities too. And people give them a hard time for it.
Well,
but-
like always, celebrities try to follow black people.
Mhm.
You know, they're cheating.
They just want to be cool.
Yeah. I don't blame them.
Don't they realize they have to do their own thing to be cool and not just copy?
I don't know. I think copying worked.
Sometimes copying's real cool.
It's a way to get your cool moved up and then start to work on it yourself.
Hey, I'm doing this cool thing that we all decided is cool.
A
So.
guy in another town I saw doing it. So now I'm wearing a derby everywhere.
Yeah, that's cool. Derby guy?
Yeah.
But we don't need a million Chloes. You can get like a pancake mix or something in there.
I got you 100%, man. I'm with you on the Chloe thing. There's too many of them. That's why Caitlyn.
I know.
Who cares?
Do you think that they're pissed that she spelled her name with a C?
I think that it was done on purpose.
It
So
was.
you sound like
It
the
was,
other
yes.
Kardashians.
He said that he's not going to be a K, so he can distance himself from the Kardashians.
Then why make a K sounding name? Because you can make Caitlyn a K name. It's like he's rubbing it in their faces.
Look, you don't need to distance yourself from them. Just fucking, you're divorcing their mom.
Yeah, they're your family.
You're divorcing your dick.
Don't do a show with them. You know, his oldest kids are like, no, I'm not doing a fucking reality show with
They
them.
want nothing to do with it.
I don't want to be around that woman, or those strange children that she had, or the E Network.
They just want their
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
Not on television.
I want to be a person.
We have a great storyline for this upcoming scene with you guys. You fight Kim and
And,
Courtney.
yeah, in this scene, your dad comes home and all four of you are shitting on his gowns. How's this, Dad? This is what my childhood was like.
Kids are so rebellious.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? Right?
Caitlin, get these kids under control.
He's just talking to himself.
Yeah.
Or you.
Yeah,
Who were you then in that improv? I could never figure it out.
He wants everyone to call him Caitlyn, and that includes himself.
Well, he's still figuring out his and her new identity, so there's some self-talk.
I'm the guy who invented gender identity.
You did?
I found the first black hole and I put a trailer there.
How did you do that? I'm starting to not believe this guy.
Boom, boom, boom. I think we got to wrap this one up, huh?
Yeah, we do.
What is it you're trying to bring up, Chris?
I'm just trying to bring up one thing, and that's Tito.
We were just talking about him earlier today. We're saying, like, what ball player he would be.
Yeah.
What president would you have Tito?
Tito would be, he'd be Grant, Ulysses S. Grant. He won the Civil War.
I would think of him more as a George Washington, the guy who started it all.
Yeah.
Because he started off for vodka in Texas.
Or Lincoln Thinking Man.
FDR.
Because of his legs?
Tito's legs work. Dan.
How would you say
supposed
that?
to talk about that. All right.
New deal.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft
Hey,
vodka.
wait, he is right. There was a new deal with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That reminds me of
But
Tito.
he was last second. I mean, if you don't even want to let him through with it, I'll give it to you.
No, the leg thing negates everything else. Because in 1995, Tito Beverage, that's his real name, Dad.
What is?
Tito Beverage.
Okay, good.
Had the idea of building his own micro distillery, incorporating the boutique winery concept into the spirits industry.
A zone micro distillery. Zone.
His own.
Oh, his own.
His own.
His own.
His own micro distillery.
Do you know that the first three, I mean, he goes to show you how you have to keep working. But he was telling me, Tito said, the first three distilleries that he built, they didn't work as a distillery at all, but they were time machines.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's amazing.
He's
right?
incredible.
Yeah.
He acquired the first legal permit to distill in Texas and put his life savings into it, racking up 19 credit cards to build his own copper pot stills and condensers.
That's amazing when you think about that. Have you ever had an idea in your life that you push that hard for? And you're like, oh, I don't care what's happening. I'm burning all the bridges.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had something that I would risk so far in my life, that I've risked as much as old Tito did.
19 credit cards is a lot.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I ran up 19 credit cards, risked everything by having my first family. And I ended up running out on them.
What?
Left them with the bill. Yeah, I never told you about your brothers and sisters.
No.
Oh, yeah. It's weird, but I forgot. One of them is on the Portland Trailblazers. I got to tell you about him. The other.
My life is a lie.
Yeah. Oh, and the other one started at Lincoln Park. But I'll have time to talk to you about that.
Since then, Tito's been awarded a 95 rating by Wine Enthusiast, won the unanimous Judge's Choice Double Gold Medal at the World Spirits Competition, the Chairman's Trophy for World's Best Vodka Tonic, and many others.
If Tito was a comic, who would he be? Dan.
Oh, he'd be Pryor.
Pryor. Oh.
Carlin.
Jerry Seinfeld.
You're all wrong. He'd be Bill Hicks.
Challenging the social norms.
Challenging the social norms. Texan, okay?
Yes.
Doing things a little differently.
Right.
It's got a modest paper label on a simple bottle.
What does?
Tito's Vodka.
Oh, yeah. That's true. At first, I was thrown off for it. I said, that's a little modest. I hope it's still good.
Because that means you pay for the exceptional handmade vodka inside.
Oh.
Yeah.
Instead of all the bottle stuff.
Exactly.
Smart.
Tito still makes his vodka by hand on the same land where he started it all, Austin, Texas.
Oh, everybody loves Austin, Texas.
That's right.
Tito's handmade vodka is distilled 6 times from 100% corn and is naturally gluten-free. Visit us at titosvodka.com for recipes, songs, and more. 40% alcohol by volume, handcrafted to be savored responsibly.
That's good, Chris. You did a good job with that.
Thank you. All right. I like applause. That's cool.
Ow!
Couple outs.
That was very nice. I mean, you got your head down. You know what I mean? Towards the end there, you're just like, I'm not going to keep breaking now. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to make this work.
You did it.
Yeah. What if Tito was country? What country would he be?
United States of America.
What's wrong? He would have been the country of Texas.
Oh.
Country of Texas.
I was thinking America or possibly Britain. I was thinking going Britain too.
America.
I was thinking Greece. It's like real innovative, smart,
Greece is the
paving
word.
the way.
Yeah, Greece is the word.
It's got groove. It's got meaning.
Yeah. That's really funny that you're quoting Greece like this. Like it's really important. Because it's hard to even understand what he's saying during that song.
No. Not at all a 50s sounding song,
No.
by the way. It's clearly influenced by the 70s.
Yeah. Well, I think it was written by one of those Bee Gees, right?
Was it? Is that
Yeah,
what it is?
look it up.
It definitely sounds like a Bee Gees song.
Look it up, Chris.
One
Don't
of those
just
Bee
Quicker, quicker.
go to written songpedia.
Written song. Oh, I got Wikipedia. Barry Gibb.
Boom. There I go.
Barry Gibb. The song Grease.
Killing it.
Yeah, man. I'm just doing so great with the show lately.
Fucking killing it. You're taking it out. You're chopping it up. That's what I like about you.
No,
way to go, Spaz. Come on. So you guys didn't even know about that, huh?
Mm-hmm. I didn't know.
Yeah, I'll give you all kinds of song facts. Bring up any song in the world, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about Sleep Now in the Fire, Rage Against the Machine?
Really, really interesting. Not a lot of people know this. Song was written, it was an early 90s thing, and it was written about Meryl Streep's vagina.
No!
What?
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah,
I
she
can't
had
believe
a
it.
burning itch going on, and
Makes sense.
And Zach couldn't sleep. He couldn't. She just grabbed him by the head, during an oral thing, and said, "Sleep now on the fire." Just started fucking racking him against it.
I thought there were too many songs about that.
No, they that was the last. No one can ever follow that again. But she's such a wonderful actress.
I know.
She's really, really great. I mean, she's basically our, Twin Towers.
It's true. She's my white whale.
She is. She's Moby Dick. And that's when every time I see her, I go, "Here comes the big white dick. There you are. Don't let anyone tell you you're not."
How did she take that?
Who knows? She was so drunk. I don't think she understood me.
Didn't know she liked the sauce.
We were all drunk that night. We were fucking just hammered. And I remember at one point, and she had puked all down the front of herself.
Yeah.
And I just looked over at her, and I'm like, "You're not even Meryl Streep. You're Mitchell Walters." Those were different times, though. You don't party like that anymore,
It's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, they're all dead now.
Oh, no.
But she's got a movie coming out this year where she plays an old rocker.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that'd be
She
good.
does it all.
Yeah, she does. She's so good. No one ever brings this up. She's so good.
She's good at acting.
She is. She's a good actor. Yeah. Do you ever notice that, Chris?
Not until Dan said it, but I always took her for granted.
When you turn the camera on, she can go.
Well, the thing is, it's from all the acting roles that she does.
Oh.
But the thing is, she's super underrated. Like,
I know.
nobody
knows her.
Yeah.
No one knows her. She has to audition for every part. Because women will go, "I don't like you, and I don't even want to be like you."
A lot of the roles she gets under stage name.
Mm-hmm. What is her stage name? Fred something, right?
Yeah,
Fred
Armisen.
Willard?
Armisen.
Oh, Armisen. We thought it was Willard.
Willard.
No, you had Armisen.
Willard's,
Well, maybe you're wrong. We don't know.
Willard's Helen Mirren. Yeah.
No, okay. I didn't know that. But seeing this new movie, I think her daughter is in this with her.
Yeah, she is. I know the daughter because she was in some really bad Nickelodeon show. But she looked like Meryl Streep.
Well, what's her daughter's name?
It's not. There isn't a Streep on the end of it. It's so it's Ricky
Where
and
the
the Flag.
Streep has no name. Oh, that Streep has no name.
Mammy Gummer is her daughter's name.
Yeah.
Mammy?
Mammy Gummer.
Mammy! How I love you. How I love you.
It's gotta be Mamie. It's not
It's Mammy.
Mammy.
No, it's Mammy.
It's
No
Mammy.
way.
No,
that is
no.
Mamie.
She is a black maid down south, and she takes care of
I'm telling
she
you now.
takes care of
It's
white
Mammy.
kids on the plantation.
His name is
That's Mammy.
Stanley, do you have other things you can mispronounce for us, please?
It's Mammy. I know it is.
It's definitely Mamie. Nobody's
Whatever.
name is Mammy.
What have you named the baby? This is little Mammy.
Named after her Mammy, of course.
Mammy Goomer.
Mammy Jr.
Mammy Gummer.
Oh, Mammy. And the baby's first word was, "I don't know nothing about breaking on babies."
Her first words were, "Hush, child, hush."
Oh, God, that was fucking classic, Stan.
Why would Meryl call her daughter Mammy? For real, though.
She didn't.
She did. Look at the name.
Not
M-A-M-I-E.
She was immersed in a role at the time.
Yeah.
It applied.
She was.
Like, even before I saw it, you said it, and I just thought, nope, that cannot be the name.
Mammy Gummer.
No.
And Gummer's a weird last name, too. It's a crazy name. I mean, I like it. It's different.
By the way, if you go
Don't get me
over-
wrong.
Yeah,
I love it.
it's so different. No one did it. There's pictures, if you go to our Twitter, of Gurian's walls, the way he's lined this thing up.
I'd love to see it.
Do you ever notice that it seems like Chris has to go type more than the average person?
Yeah, like it should pull it right up, you know, because you've been there a million times.
That's his house.
Uh-huh.
Keep going to the walls. Keep going to
From the
comedy
windows
wall.
to the walls, please.
So the sweat comes off your balls.
Get to the wall.
See, that's how
Oh my God, it looks like a comedy club.
Yeah.
And
You see those orange things?
Yeah, what are those?
Those are like deflated balloons that he leaves around on the floor.
To make it look like a comedy club at the end of the night?
I gotta go to this house.
Like there was a bachelorette party there.
Sure.
Yeah.
It looks great. He's done a great job with it.
That looks great if you just opened up a new club.
Mm-hmm.
Stand-up Gurian.
He has a little candle on every table in his house.
It is nice that way.
Gurian's giggles.
Every time that he leaves, he goes like this. Oh, I forgot to tip my waitresses. Who you texting with now? What could be more important than the show that you're doing?
Sexting.
The booth texted me.
Oh, hey, Booth. How are you?
Hey, guys. How are you doing?
What are you guys talking about?
It was a text saying that there's one more live read, but we've done all the live reads for
Yeah.
today.
And I texted that at 2:48.
I just saw it. I just saw it. Yeah, I was paying attention to the show. I was paying attention to the show.
Really?
Yes.
But it wouldn't have occurred to you to check the time?
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't get on him like he's Mammy. He's got other stuff.
There's nothing wrong with Mammy.
You're the mammy of the group for sure.
Good. I'll be Meryl Streep's daughter.
Then you won't be Mammy. You never heard of the term Mamie Eisenhower? You never heard that as a name?
No. I haven't. I haven't.
You're great to do radio with. Nope.
I've never heard the name Mamie.
Nope. Cut off. Cut off. All right, we got to wrap this up. We need to plug anything?
A Sam Morril show tonight at the Village Underground. 2 shows.
Yeah.
7:30 and 9:45 p.m. Go to comedycellar.com for tickets.
Free tickets.
Free. Totally 100% free.
Whoa.
Go see Sam Morril cut his album. It's called Class
great.
Act.
That's a very funny title, too. The insulting nature of saying that someone is a class act.
Class act.
Only said after they're dead.
Yeah, that Joey Jojo's a real class act.
Yeah,
He
real
does it all.
class act.
R.I.P.
I didn't know he was gone.
He always,
Heroin
when you go
overdose.
to his house, he always gets you a beer and some pickles and hard-boiled eggs. He's a real class act.
Classy.
You ever see when people would get up? You ever been to a wake or a funeral where people get up and they're saying what's the best thing about somebody?
Yeah.
And he goes like this, me and Pete used to go hunting, and whether we got a bird or not, we always stopped and did shots and beers on the way home. And then the guy will just sit down. I'm like, wow, what a fucking honor.
Okay.
We're supposed to be honoring this person. That's simple facts that actually
We
happened.
got drunk so many weekends.
You know why I like that? That's a more honest recollection
Right.
of a person than any glamorized thing that you're punching up in their dead memory.
It's always been like, yeah, I met him through his sister. I was dating her for a while. And I don't know. She just got cold on me. And said she didn't want to go out anymore. But I'd still see him around town. So we started to, drink together. All right. Thanks. You're like, that's it?
Beautiful.
I don't think anybody should be asked to speak at a funeral.
Mm-mm.
Just silence or
Yeah.
some music?
Music, definitely.
Oh, yeah, I think it should be left up to a Catholic priest and an organist. That should be everything. All right, we got to get out of here, right, Stan?
Yes, we do.
We'll see you guys back in here tomorrow. Thanks for a lovely day. And I hope you guys will see you all again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!